I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get it, no call it quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, shield my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no given. Some days I don't hit, I don't sleep. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. Down, wonder when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need the brag. I guess that's what happens.
What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Cole Cutz, proud owner of Upper Cutz Barber Shop.
Hey, this is Lonnie Horn, proud owner of World Class Faders and World Class Stylers Barbershop and Salon.
You're watching a special episode of For the Culture Podcast.
Uncut. Like uncut for real, man.
Yeah, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors, man.
Yes.
Booksy Biz, Batano, Barbers Illustrated Magazine, as well as Bopper Brand. Guys, go download those apps, start getting active with those brands because they support us to help support you. So,
Yes, man. So recently, today we're jumping straight into things, man. We got some important things to talk about. We appreciate everybody that's tuning in tonight, and I know everybody's been waiting on this. We have a gentleman, a barber, an influencer who released a post recently, and interestingly, it got a lot of backlash. We saw a lot of tension that came from this, and for us, our platform, this barber game has fed us so much. It's fed our families. It's fed our barbers' families. And it's just carried us through a lot of phases in our life. So, for us, we feel we owe anything we can pay back to this industry through this platform. So it came to our attention that this needed to be talked about on our platform. Shout out to Brandy, the original Barber Doll. And so we reached out to this gentleman and a few other people, and we put together a good panel for y'all tonight so we could really get some education, some more perspective on this. So this,
go
ahead.
I just wanted to let everybody know that we'll be popping in the comments, that we do want to hear your comments, whether you agree or disagree. But we're here to learn. We're here to be educated and to educate. So we want you guys just to be respectful and just donate your time so we can give you ours, Yeah,
man. Yeah, we want this to be a progressive situation here. And yes. We believe this will be evergreen content that can help people coming into this industry, even in the future. A lot of times we get into this game for monetary purposes, and the last thing we're thinking about is the history of it. And then once you get into it, you start to hear things here and there. But I think this will serve a purpose way beyond this day, this year, maybe even this decade, man, for people getting into this booming industry, man. So the post that came out, it was titled "The Fade is Black Culture," and underneath it, the subtitle was "Everyone Else Just Borrowed It." And now you saw a whole lot of backlash from this. People had different opinions on where it came from, where it was really developed. And then layers of this just began to grow, layers of it. And a lot of history came from it. So with no further ado, man, we want to bring the gentleman that actually put this out. And this guy's a master natural barber, influencer, the inventor of the No Chili Bowl, motivational and game of life speaker, award winner, author, YouTuber, man, ambassador of Stylecraft Pro, and just a beast in this game, man. Roderick Rashawn Cole, aka Cole Cutz. Give him a beat.
What it do? What's going on?
Hey, man, good to have you, man. Good to see you. Welcome to the For the Culture Podcast.
Mr. Cole, you done set the internet on fire with one simple post. My first question to you is, what made you post that? Where did that inspiration come from?
The inspiration from that post came from me looking at the state of barbering right now and understanding how things have progressed. And when I say how things have progressed, I'm talking about the haircuts, just the culture in general, how we dress, how we walk, how we talk, what's cool, what's not cool, etc., etc. And my whole mission be to it is to inspire, motivate, and educate the barbers that's paying attention to me. I think that's my responsibility as a influencer and as a leader, right? So I put out a lot of educational posts like that. You know, this is just one that went real crazy, but I put out a lot of educational posts. That particular post, you know, I wanted to educate about that smooth transition fade because, as y'all know, I talk about the chili bowl all the time. So I had to talk about the origins of the no chili bowl, which is the fade. And from my experience being born in 88 and the way that I experienced it and knowing a little bit what I know about it, I chose to put that out there to educate, right? I was shocked by the response, and I can't say angry, I'm more disappointed because I had other expectations. I thought people would embrace it, and I thought people would go like, yeah, you know, okay, this is African Americans, one of African Americans contributions to the barber industry, right? And the response and the backlash was a whole different story, man. It was different from what I expected.
Yes, indeed.
What and so you expected them to feel educated after you put it out?
Yes.
Okay. Got you. And before we bring in anybody else, I want to ask you what I told you earlier. So for me, every time I read that caption, it sounds different to me each time. I try to think of how it makes people feel. Why did they feel this way when I look in the comments and so forth? The subtitle, everyone else borrowed it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you expect that part to provoke anybody, or did you feel like that would make them feel educated as well?
When you if you look on my page, I do a lot of posts. I don't went viral, millions of views, a lot.
For sure.
Right. But marketing, that first post, I need you to stop. That tagline make you stop and it make you want to read. This is how posts are made. I'm a master at it. I teach that class. I do this very well. I wanted it to make you want to slide over and read and get educated. That line was a bit polarizing. I didn't think of it that way, but when I look at the comments, I can see that that ain't the major issue in the comments, but it got people to read, right? And it's a fact, but the wording of it do make you want to go and read. And some people didn't even take the time to read; they just commented.
Oh yes, indeed. When I read it, I seen it as you wasn't saying we started the fade. That's how I read it. But a lot of people went so far back, but like, you didn't start the fade, you didn't do this. They started in the military, where you gave homage to that in your post. If they just would have
correct,
but it just blew them up as soon as they seen it.
See, I knew that would happen. I thought about that. I said people gonna think that I'm saying that we just started this. So I said we're gonna talk about where it really started at, which is the high and tight in the military. That's a fact. And then we seen that transition in hip hop movies, et cetera, Black culture, period. I watched my dad do the high and tight coming out the military and transition into the fade as hip hop got more popular. Then the fade got more popularized. We start watching Martin, and then you watch Will Smith go from the Chili Bowl to the fresh fade. You watch Carlton have the Chili Bowl, then he got the fresh fade. Right, we seen this transition, and it was us that did that. These are just facts. This is not something that I made up myself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, Boog, you ready?
All right, yeah, man. We're gonna get into this. We definitely had to make sure we get clarity on where it came from with the man himself. And we're gonna bring in our next panelist. Is he in there? Yeah, he's in there. All right. Our next panelist is a true veteran, man. We love this guy to death on the Barbers Club platform, period. He's always showed us love. We show him love. This guy's a master barber, motivational speaker, investor, developer, level 3 pro ambassador, which is some new game. He's a leader. He's a man of God, man. And he's our big brother, man, the one and only DL, the Master Barber.
What's happening, fellas? What's happening?
Man, good to have you, man. Good, man, always good to have you.
It's good
Mr.
to be had, brother.
DL. We've been sidebarring all over the place, bro. I know this post has just gave you a roller coaster ride. We understand that.
First of all, I want to thank God for before we even get started. I just want to thank God for all of us, everybody listening. I want to thank God for your show. I want to thank God for Cole for bringing this post up. And because he is a master of being able to cause people to take a moment to look in awe, and maybe they read and maybe they don't. A lot of people misunderstand things based on not reading. Reading is fundamental.
Yes.
But the thing is that I'm like really at a loss for words, but I want to. It's almost as I start to say, how dare you? How dare you talk about, blacks created this, or how dare you talk about blacks created culture? How dare you talk about blacks has invented anything? You are wrong. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should never ever talk about black people have invented anything, because black people haven't invented anything. Now that is a small-minded, mental, unintelligent person. Black people have been considered 3/5 of a man. Black people have not been able to vote. Black people have been taken from their homes. Black people have been taken from their families. Black people have been raped. Black people have been molested. Black people have become slaves. Black people have built a country and have not been respected for it whatsoever. Black people, and to read comments and to hear what barbers have to say, and some non-barbers, about what black culture is, I really question the fact if we really know what black culture is. And I'm coming from a standpoint where I dwarf all of you guys in age. So I've been around in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and the 90s, and the 2000s. I've been through many presidents. I've been through many television shows. I've been on many television shows, from Robert Townsend to and Friends on HBO, to the Arsenio Hall show. I was the first barber on that show, to working on a TV show called Designing Women. I've been on multiple shows. So as Cole calls chili bowls, those haircuts at that time was not required to blend. That wasn't the look. And if you look at the early hip hop, it was light to dark. That was all. Mm-hmm. That was it. Uh-huh. But now we're getting into the point where history has to really truly show itself. Uh-huh. And history is, and that is where I feel like I must say something.
Well, that's why we got you. Let's get us there. Let's get us there.
Okay, so for example,
wait, not yet.
Let's start with the original. We gotta unpack it.
Unpack it.
Literally, just first and foremost, a DL with the history, the track record, the knowledge, the experience you got. what was your reaction when you first saw the post? What was your interpretation of Cole's post when you first saw it? Minus, real quick, nothing to do with the comments. What did DL see when you saw that post? Subtitle and all.
I smiled. And I was like, that is a bold brother. And I stand 10 toes down for it, and I stand 10 toes down with them. And I understand. And a lot of people, we can go down that history line, and if we go down that rabbit hole, I'm telling you, this is one of those subjects you don't want to play with DL Master Barber about. You do not want to play with this one, because at the end of the day, you know, the problem we have in our industry is so many people are speaking on feelings instead of dealing with the facts.
Yes.
And when you speak on feelings, we get misunderstood, we get misread, and we don't truly know what's really going on. Yeah. So reality is the bottom line is when I hear all of this, and when I've seen it, I felt it, and it cut me to the core, because I knew before I even read, because I didn't even read the comments or anything. Brandy, and big shout out to her, because that is my queen. She is the Harriet Tubman of our industry.
Man, if you don't say that, boy.
She is the Madam CJ Walker of our industry.
I say it all the time.
Misread, misunderstood, and people just don't really understand the true core of that system. Right? And beyond her being a barber, and I hate the word female, but she is a barber.
He's a barber. Right.
And so we have to be careful on the words we use. But when Cole said what he said, he stood by it. And in my Nene Leakes voice, he said I said what I said. And that's what he said.
Yeah. DL, we finna bring in another panelist, and we're gonna get their opinion on that post, and then we're gonna move on to the historical lenses once we get everybody on. Lon, who you got?
All right, this next guy, he didn't even know he was gonna be our barber brother. We selected him before he selected us. This is the beauty of the barbering industry, man, and this is why this panel is so important, because it's bigger than a race. It has its own culture outside of race, man. Barbering is a beautiful thing that has fed a lot of us, taught a lot of us, built relationships. This guy, not only is does he hold a Guinness Book of World Records for multiple things in the barbering industry, he is a businessman. He is the face of Barberside. This guy is a mentor to many, many barbers, veterans down to the students around this country, man, around the world. We're very honored to have our barber brother, Ivan Zoot, on the platform tonight. What's up, sir?
Ivan.
Evening. My apologies for my later on a little bit of linkage challenge.
Nobody knows what you talk about, sir. Well,
me and you.
We're here. It's all good.
Welcome.
Good evening, gentlemen. Nice to see you all.
Ivan, we wanted to know, what was your thoughts on the initial post when you seen it?
Well, obviously, you know, I'm honored to be invited in to sit in on this conversation and contribute where I can.
Yes.
I follow Cole online, and he knows I like and I comment and I engage with his content. Most of the time, I agree with almost everything he says. When I don't, I respectfully disagree with him. And he acknowledges the dissenting comments as well. I'm a little, and maybe it comes from a point of ignorance about a few things. I just don't even understand why this blew up like it did, because I saw the post and I read the post, I listened to the comments, and I commented on it. And for me, it was just simple fact. It was the reality of the world I know as I know it. What really solidified my support of it was the acknowledgement initially that this particular haircut has its military origins. However, after those military origins and the specifics of it there, in my mind, there's no question that the Black barber community, the Black community in general, the Black entertainment industry, media, you name it, got a hold of this haircut and completely transformed it. I don't want to say took ownership of it because it didn't belong to somebody else beforehand, but to his point, made it what it is. And as a result, it is, in my mind, absolutely an element.
Oh man, your internet service in Chicago ain't doing too hot, Ivan.
I feel like he was saying it's an element of Black culture, is where he was going with it.
We'll wait till he get back. Here he comes.
I understand why it was.
Ivan, you froze on us a little bit. You said you froze right when you were saying it's an element of.
It's an element of Black culture, unquestionably to me. That is why when he said it, I went, yeah. But what really, I would have paused and I might have felt differently had there not been the acknowledgement on the front end of the military origin of it. Because, the expression, everything old is new again. Nothing's ever really new. Tight tapered haircuts have existed in many ways, in many places, many different reasons, many different tools we use to create them as tools have evolved. But the point he was making about what he was stating was, to me, was absolutely factual. So at that point, I was just like, yes. And to me, I moved on, and then in the wake of all that it unfold.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a debate from my perspective.
Love it.
Thank you. Thank you, Ivan.
Who we got next?
And
right,
oh, hold on.
No, go ahead, Ivan. No, let it out.
That's what I got.
We're gonna have more for you. We have more for you coming.
All right, man. So yeah, man, this next guy, man, so on this platform we always say we're blessed. We blessed because we actually get to admire people for the work we see them doing, and then we get blessed enough to where we actually meet them, and then we get to know more about them and build this brotherhood. And this next guy is definitely one we saw online, and we just love what he was doing, man. And we got to meet him at a couple events, and energy was just instant there, man. So definitely another one of our barber brothers, man. This guy's a veteran barber, shop owner, influencer, representing barbers in small markets, which is super dope to me, man. He's a JRL ambassador, father, husband, leader, just a beast in the game, man. None other than DJ Cut It.
What's up, family?
What's up,
man? It's medicine if you take it.
Take it.
Good to have you, man.
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate y'all being here, man.
Right, before we really get this thing going, we do want to know, what was your input? What was your initial reaction when you seen the post?
Honestly, my first initial reaction was like, damn, that's a good ass post. I watched, just from what Cole said, from the structure of content, because I do so much content, I was like, man, this boy killing it. But as far as the sentiment expressed, I agree. I'm pretty much like everybody else. Like, I saw it, I was like, oh, that's nice. Man, that's a dope fade. Like, yeah, of course. Then went in the comments, went to usually put something like I usually do for Cole, and saw the comments and felt like everyone else, like, man, this is disappointing. And then, as I told y'all before, it kind of, for me, it was automatically back to, okay, I know what this is. I know what this looks like. I've been through this before myself. So that's when I started to get on the phone. I called DL. I'm calling the other people I know, like, hey, y'all seeing this post? What y'all think about y'all reaction to this? And this is when I started having the conversations with everybody else offline. Like, this is going to snowball into something bigger than just talking about a fade, because now we have to address something that's almost, not even just almost, that is actually a microcosm of what's going on in society. So if we don't, we're going to have the same ills within our culture that the society has in general. And our point, one of the most things that all of us seem to care about the culture is, so far we've been able to kind of dodge all of those things on the surface level. But what Cole's post did was peel that layer back, and here we are.
Appreciate that, man. We really appreciate all you guys once again even joining this platform to let people know what's going on with that whole post. So much negative reaction about it. It was a lot of positive people in there that was giving credit where credit was due, that was from other ethnicities that was really like, yeah, it's factual. And for me, I didn't. Me and Lon was so like, when Brandy brought it up, we're like, oh man, I gotta go do a little research. It was so easy to Google or Chat GPT or look up something to find out. Yeah, it is. So people was complaining about something that's factual, telling you you're not speaking facts.
Well, see,
So
for me, it wasn't even you have to Google. I was looking at it more like, and this might just be my privilege of having known DL for a while. I automatically thought of, well, I know DL would know. And then I thought of, when me and him had a conversation, I thought of Stacy. And I've never even met this lady. And I thought of the Conrad Hilton guy. That's just, if you ever see him, you'll never forget him. But I'm thinking like, man, these guys was around when these haircuts, like probably the picture that was used to create this AI image was these guys' haircuts. So we're not talking about ancient history about the development of this exact haircut that we're looking at, y'all. We talking to people that are still online right now, that are still on the set right now, or just like DL just got off the set right now.
Yes. So let's talk about the historical lens. Let's zoom out so people can get a visual of what's really going on with the history of the fade. You guys spoke about it in the military. I seen in the comments they were taking it back to the Aztecs. They were taking it back to Egypt. They was taking it so far back. Let me start with you,
I got
Ivan.
hit up with a comment that said the Chinese invented it in the Quang Dynasty.
Ivan, let me start with you. You brought it up a little bit. We'll go from there. We'll go to Cole, and then we'll come with DL if that's all right with y'all.
Okay. I mean, short, tight, faded military haircuts, and I won't use the word faded. Short, tight military haircuts have in their origins issues of sanitation that were enforced in the military to keep people clean in trenches in World War I. There were beard and mustache styles that had evolved militarily that had to do with proper sealing of gas masks and things like that. As far as high faded haircuts, and by the way, you guys should know, I've had a joke that I've told for years about who invented the high bald fade. And some of you have heard me talk about this. Who invented the high bald fade? And it wasn't a comment from an ethnic perspective, but I used to always say the high bald fade was invented by a barber who couldn't get the line out, that he kept cutting until it was all the way up, way past the parietal ridge, and it was too high. As far as the military goes, what's called a jar head haircut has at its origins some of what Cole may refer to as that chili bowl. It was not blended. And the reason it got the name jar head was it was skinned, and it had for lack of a better way to put it, it was a poorly blended transition, but not accident. It was deliberate. There was not so much a line as a distinction between skin and hair, and the finished result was the top of the head looked like, I used to say it looked like a soap dish.
There you go. And he's freezing with his mouth open. Caught you with your mouth open.
Poor Ivan.
Poor Ivan. That's the Chicago internet line. You know about it.
No, that's cold.
It's probably in the basement.
You ain't lying.
Yeah, oh no, he is in the basement. He is.
Ain't lying. Hold on, we lost you, Ivan. We lost you.
Yeah, we had a little connection instability there, but it had its name from the idea that the finished haircut looked like a mason jar, like a canning jar, had that ring on the top. And the expression was that if you signed up and joined the Marines, they would unscrew the top, they would take out anything that was in there, they would put in what the military wanted to
brainwash.
Threw the lid back on the jar. And it was a commentary on the military mindset that was necessary to succeed in the Marine Corps. That's why it was called a jar head, and it was non-blended like that. It was only later, when those migrated out of the military and into civilian culture, that we started to see them be more blended. And at this point, already the Black community was picking up on this, was turning it into, and then of course adding their own twist. Because when we say everything old is new again, we acknowledge that the haircut evolved. A perfect example of this is when the fade, and this is 100% an element of Black culture, when they began to line and edge the front of that haircut. No white guy ever did that. Nobody ever did that in any other barber shop. That was, whether it was Steve Harvey, and I won't claim to know all of the players in popular culture, TV, movies, music, things like that. But back at that point in time, when you started to see that front lining, which was unheard of when I grew up in the industry, we wouldn't dream of having ever done that. It became such a signature element of that look that unquestionably, and I will say this, and this was never meant with ill intent, but I was one of the first non-Black educators ever to educate at the Proud Lady show in Chicago when it was bigger than Bronner Brothers. I was one of the first white educators ever to present a men's haircutting class at the Bronner Brothers show. Based on my role with Andis and my positioning and everything. And to me, it wasn't about ethnicity. It was about sharing great information. And nobody ever said, hey, wait a minute, you're not a Black guy. You can't play at this show. Nobody ever said that to me. But it has been said, because I've participated in so many of these barber events within the Black community, that when a white guy would get his hair cut by a Black barber, there was one guy in particular this happened to. He got his hair cut at the show and he went home, and his wife looked at him and said, you got your hair cut by a Black guy. And he said, what does that mean? And the response was, it's a better haircut than you usually get. And it had to do with the precision with which it was delivered. And this was on straight hair. It was a Caucasian, and it just had to do with the look of the haircut. And a lot of it was how it looked, especially in through the front. Those were elements that clearly came up and through the Black barber community. We weren't ever doing any of this stuff. And if, as you know your history, the Latino community started to copy it, and then the white guys started to copy it. And it was all copied from Black barbers.
All right.
Man, good breakdown, man.
Come on, Cole. Let's educate.
Yeah, where did the fade originate from? Your
Hold on, before Cole goes, John Mosley was trying to get on, so you guys might want to send him a message or tell him.
I got him. All right, let's go ahead. So what did so Cole, from your perspective, your historic perspective, where did where did the fade originate?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same as I said before. I wasn't around during the earlier stages, and I didn't get a chance to witness a lot of the other things that happened, but from my knowledge and for what I know, it originated from the military haircut, like I mentioned in the post, from the high and tight, right? And in the in the 80s, late 70s, 80s, it started to transition with hip hop. From my lens and from what I've seen, also what I know, I seen that transition in hip hop. And like I said, with my father being in the military, he got the high and tight at first. We seen the same thing with, like I said, with Will Smith with the chili bowl haircut. Carlton had a chili bowl at first, right? Then that smooth transition. You can look at the season when it changed. Then you seen Martin to this day still got that smooth transition haircut, right? And of course, when we watch movies like Juice and DL, this is where we really appreciate you. We looked at those haircuts, and that just really stamped the culture. It stamped the culture, and these particular events, when it comes to hip hop and television, this is what made my generation want to get that smooth transition. And if you had a hard line, where I'm from, chili bowl ain't new. That's old. Everybody know what that mean here, because back then when I was growing up, you had a hard line in your fade, We're gonna call it a chili bowl, and you're gonna get ranked on all day long. But when you got a smooth transition, you get status, right?
Yeah.
We copied the Nas, we put the part in there. My daddy got a ball fade to this day. I grew up with nothing but ball fades. That's all I got growing up, right? So that was my experience with it, and I know where I seen. I know where I seen it at. I seen the different transitions of it, and then the same thing. I'm in Texas, so I seen here we got a lot of the Mexican community. They had one like that when we was growing up. I got a lot of Mexican homeboys. They wasn't wearing those type of haircuts, and then it wasn't until later they probably gravitated towards that in the 2000s. Then you started to see Mexicans get the fade, and you know what I mean, even the tapers, the blowout tapers or whatnot, right? But that was my experience with it. And I seen that transition myself, and I know what it means to me. I know what it means to my people.
Yes, indeed. DL, you wanna take us a little further back?
Yeah, well, barbershops were closing at a rapid pace in the late 70s, early 80s. Barbershops were closing down. The black barber community was closing down at a rapid pace. The reason why the barbershops were closing down at a rapid pace because Jerry curls came out. When Jerry curls came out, everybody and their mama had to have one. Everybody wanted what they called the back shake, where your hair was just shaking in the back. You sprayed that hair down and you kept them curls wet and juicy and moist. The problem was barbers did not want to transition, and Ivan can also help you with this as well. Barbers did not want to transition to doing the rolling set. They did not want to roll that hair. They didn't want to break that hair down. And because they didn't want to do that, men started going to beauty salons to get their hair done as opposed to barbershops. So the only ones who were really getting those haircuts at that time were people like really conservative, doctors, lawyers, teachers, kids, which basically what they call a covatus. You just get a straight cut, no fade, no blend, no nothing, and just line them up. And most of the time, the kids didn't even get a lineup. Give them the covatus, give me the number one, number two. Back in the day, you used to pick the poster, pick the number off the poster, and go on about your business. But then come around 1985 is when I show up. And in 1985 is when I started cutting down and cutting, and other people like myself, like Stacy Cutz, Pierce Austin, we were in the top, I would say the top 5 of barbers who were doing 95% of all music videos, okay? And once we started cutting that hair, we started doing flat tops. Those flat tops, and that's when they were straight chili bows, but it was by design. That was the cut. High, tight, and then go straight to the top. Then from there, it evolved from there to the blend. And once it started blending, I didn't learn how to blend until I met somebody from Philly. And when them Philly fades, when them dudes started talking about the Philly fade, I had no idea what he was talking about, but they would come because back then, every rap artist had to come to LA to sign their record deals. I just so happened to be in barber school on Hollywood Boulevard in Las Palmas. So I went through Big Daddy Kane. I went through High Five, Soul for Real, Public Enemy, Stetsasonic. All of those guys, I was cutting their hair when they signed their record deals. And I'm telling you right now, those New York ones and those Philly guys were the ones was explaining to me how they wanted that faded blended. And I was like, I don't know. And they would literally take the clippers out of my hand and blend it themselves. And you see that right there? See that right there? Yo, son, you see that? And once I understood the blend, that's when it started to really, really take off. But here's the deal. We can't go all the way back to our history unless we know our history. And if we don't know our history, we're destined to repeat our history. And so a lot of times when, you know, and I can appreciate everybody on this live to say, well, from my view, but some of us know our history. And Cole and Ivan, we all know the history. We have to teach others to know the history so we can love on our history. But if we can't love on our history, then we're going to always make it a separation between race. We're going to make it a separation between black and white. We're going to make it a separation between I'm better than you. And we're not going to ever evolve as a unit as barbers. And that is the key, is for us to separate ourselves and say we are barbers and we are united as one. Big shout outs to Marcus Harvey, because we talk about that haircut that you even posted. That's a Marcus Harvey cut. Period.
Yep.
Okay. And he is still alive and kicking. He's still around right now. You know, and so when we start having these conversations, and those people are not in the conversation, or they might be in the conversation, these are the things that some young barbers don't have no clue of. I created the juice fade, but that juice fade originated from steps. That means high, and then steps are just taken off steps. And what I did when I created that haircut, I wanted to round everything. And I created a different geometrical shape when I did that haircut. But then you start talking about the burst. That was a Curtis Smith haircut. Nobody can deny it. Curtis Smith created that haircut, and he did it on Usher. Period, point blank. From there, that's when the Latins jumped into the blurry fade. Bottom line was Curtis Smith created that burst, and that is what it is. Period, point blank. So once we start talking about details, the details showed up in around 85, 86, and that was truly a black culture thing.
Beautiful. Hey, young buck.
DJ.
Hey, young buck. Why don't you go ahead and enlighten us with some of the history that you know?
I don't think there's something that I can say that hasn't been said. We can move on to the next segment, man. I mean, I don't think I have any input that's more valuable than what I've heard. I almost forgot I was on the show. I'm listening to DL.
He's sitting there.
Hey, DL did bring up somebody that we do have in the back room. We're going to bring him in, and let's hear his input real quick before we move on to the next segment. And it is the man himself, Mr. Marcus Harvey.
Wow.
What you doing, man? Wake up.
Out the grave, man. Appreciate you, DL, man. I truly appreciate my OG for that amazing intro, man. And thank you for all who are on here. The guy, Ivan Zoot, we see DL just smooth, always on the set. Cole, we already know what it is, Cole. You already know what it is, how I feel about Cole Cutz, man. One of the greatest content makers of our time right now. DJ, it's man, listen. I could talk to DJ for like 52 hours. we've had sessions where he's driving from one state to the next, and we chopping it up. But man, thank you guys for having me.
Yes,
for sure. It's a blessing to have you, man. Blessing to have you.
Yes.
Let us get some of your feedback of what you thought originally about the post. We can talk about the backlash in our next segment, but any history that you may know of that nobody's touched on yet.
Just speaking of piggybacking off of what DL said, I was able to actually kind of slide into a honor. You know, we all know that, like you said, the fades has been something that we've been watching since Martin, since so many different shows, like you said, like Cole said, from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to just haircuts. Hitch, I remember when Pierce hit that Hitch haircut, everybody was going crazy. So just seeing how innovative we are. When I saw that post, it made me proud, one, and then second, it did dishearten me for just a quick second, because seeing the backlash of just someone celebrating a culture gets kind of nah, that ain't true, that ain't this, and it was like, we're not even really saying anything as far as we're better, we're this or that. We can just take pride in what we've given to the industry. So for somebody like myself to be thrust into such a iconic haircut, I've been known as, I'm actually Nas's longest standing barber. I've cut his hair for 15 years. I've been on tours with him. I've traveled the world. This man has taken me around the world. I know where places are in Europe. I know where places are in Japan and stuff, just because of this iconic haircut, and just knowing that how much pressure that is, bro. Boy, the pressure.
It's described as a style, Marcus. Yeah. Sometimes people be like, give me that Nas. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Let me ask you something before we, like Tamel said, we don't want to get into the backlash so quick. We really want to hear you all's reaction. And the reason it's important to hear you all's reactions is because everybody had a reaction. And so there's a disconnect with why did this person react this way? Why did this person react that way? And so with Cole earlier, I even asked about the subtitle because for me, I'm ignorant to a lot of these things. I love DL, man. I'm so blessed to have a guy like this where I could, get history. Every time I talk to DL, I get more history about this barbering thing that I just got into for a hustle 20, 30 years ago. So I learned backwards. Ivan Zoot, same thing, man. I'm just blessed. Me and Tamel we'll jam him up at an event, hit him with some trivia, and then he hit us back with some game. And some of that game has turned into some of our trivias we do all over the country. So I would like to just piggyback on that same question and ask you about the subtitle. Everyone else borrowed it. Like how did that hit for you? Because you said it made you feel proud. What did you take from that part of it right there?
I knew Cole being Cole. I knew that was a little jab. I knew what that was. I knew what Cole was. I know Cole was doing it. Yeah, they gonna like that one right there. That's gonna hit the man.
Okay. So check this out, Market. So Cole said that earlier. He's a marketing genius. We could see that, right?
Yes.
So y'all got to understand, we're trying to dig for the ignorant. We're trying to get people that are not understanding how you guys are seeing it or how anybody's seeing it, how each other are seeing it. So you just said, and Cole said, well, I threw that out there to provoke. So, but then everybody's surprised about the reactions. So for me, every time I look at it, I saw something different. I told Cole, it reminded me of a book or a movie. You know, you watch that same movie, and you're like, damn, I didn't catch it that way that last time. Yep. And I liked the original caption of it. I didn't catch the subtitle at first. I ain't gonna lie. I did the whole, I didn't read the whole thing. I was like, oh, dang, he stepped out there. And then when I looked at it again and I saw that, I said, I wonder if what is it? Like, what's your thoughts on it?
I think that something that everybody's touched on, man. Just being someone who's been in the industry for a long time, been to a lot of these shows, he took off a top layer, and you can kind of see it a lot of times when we go to events, because it led on to other questions like, why don't Black people go to hair shows? It started trickling down all the way down to that. And what I've realized is like, when I've gone places, for instance, if I cut knives, like I said, I've cut knives for 15 years. People can see on my page. If I cut knives, it's one reaction. If somebody from a different demographic cuts knives, it's 30,000 people liking it, 40,000 people liking it. And I've had that happen over and over again, where it's like clients that I've had that I passed to another demographic, when they post it on their page, it's like a explosion versus when it's posted on my page or just reaction wise. So, as everybody's known, when you meet me at a show, like, I'm going to give you nothing but great energy. I'm going to give you great energy. So sometimes when you shake a hand and you're like, that doesn't feel too nice, like you're kind of measuring me up and sizing me up. So I feel like that question and even the term y'all are borrowing it hit so hard, because it let people know that always know where certain things originated from and know the masters of that, and not in no dig, but like, hey man, like, no, give me my props and say thank you. And sometimes people don't like to say thank you when they're assimilating your culture. When it's an assimilation of your culture in certain areas, from us making certain things cool, as Ivan said, lining the front up, lining stuff up. Cats weren't doing that prior to, what I'm saying, the Steve Harvey lineup. Those type of like lines are never made. I've never heard the Bad Bunny fade. I've never heard it. I mean, I could be off, I could be disconnected, but I've never said, yo, give me the Bad Bunny, man. I've never heard nobody say, give me the Bad Bunny. I've never heard it happen.
Hey, they tried to say the Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce, yeah, even that, like, knowing that, Barber been getting that joint fresh forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it turns into something and that's something that continuously happens when you see a lot of this type of like, oh, well, this is a new trend. I've never seen a beard faded in with a high fade.
Come on, man.
Travis, you look so amazing. How did you come up with this, huh? And it's like, I went to a brother named Bar, and he was like, hey, man, he had a whole bunch of crystals on his arms, and he had incense burning in the back, and he faded me up, and I caught a million touchdowns. That's what it really should be down to. You know what I'm saying? So when you find like a level undercover disdainment for our culture, but admires our culture in the sense of the coolness, you kind of run into those areas a lot of times. So, like I said, man, it is a borrowed thing, man. You know, so
That was a
just be
great
happy.
breakdown, man. That's what I want y'all to understand. Sometimes the questions are again for the person that's ignorant to what you're trying to say, you know. So I appreciate you going so in depth. I think that is going to be something that somebody can watch and just kind of replay on their own original reaction and maybe learn something. So I appreciate that breakdown, man.
All right, so let's get
So
into
let
the
me
backlash.
can I just piggyback on Marcus
Yeah.
on what he was saying? Um,
Please.
you know, it's interesting that we see these styles. Case in point, some of you guys are much too young to know, but I want the reason why I'm bringing these things up is because I need you to understand history. I don't want you to always have to be connected to what you know. Case in point, 1979, there was a young lady, Caucasian lady named Bo Derek. Bo Derek had the highest selling poster in history until Farrah Fawcett took her out. The reason
Oh,
why
go
she
ahead.
had the highest selling poster in history because she wore a bathing suit in a movie that was not so good, but because she wore these braids, French braids, cornrows. Um, and they did not, they just literally excommunicated the person who did the braids, which is a black person. The history comes from an African tribe, which was black. But then we fast forward to Kim Kardashian, and she says she gives all her credit to Bo Derek. How dare you give credit to Bo Derek when she didn't create those braids? And the cornrows come way, way, way back. That used to be a roadmap for us during slavery. We had so many different things that was going on, but then at the same time, what we would tend to do is give credit to somebody who has nothing, and she has no idea where those braids came from. She has no idea that those were cornrows. All she thought it was fascinating. And if you ever go to Jamaica, St. Martin, any place like that in in the islands, you'll always see foreigners always wanting to get braids for the weekend while they're there, but they immediately take them out before they get on that plane to go back home. But the funny thing is that they got it done from a culture descended from Africans. We always tend to say that somebody else gets the credit for it. Miley Cyrus got the credit for the twerk. Lord Jesus. Lord Jesus.
We know that's a ritual,
Hey,
You know,
Boy,
African
so
ritual.
so the
Yeah.
thing to me is very disheartening
Mm.
when people have the abilities and the rights to say something that is so far fetched. Case in point, for those who really, the youngsters out there know who Michael Jackson is. Michael Jackson did not create the moonwalk. Jeffrey Daniels taught Michael Jackson how to do the moonwalk. Jeffrey Daniels was a soul train dancer. Daniels was also in a group called Shalimar. He was the one that created the moonwalk for Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson took it off, but I guarantee you, if you ask anybody who don't know the history, they say Michael created that. Michael did not create the moonwalk. But it's the same way with fades. It's the same way but with black culture. You always take it from us. You steal it. You give it to somebody else. And then it's us to say, how dare you guys? You guys always want to take some credit for something you didn't do. And it's shameful.
hey, you're actually going right into where we're going
Yep.
next, into the backlash.
Exactly. Yeah.
I want you guys to read this post and want to know what your thoughts are. Who cares who culture it is? The beautiful thing about America is that it's a melting pot and we can all unite and share each other's culture. Sorry, what do y'all just want to divide? Sorry. What do you think about that? Let's start with Cole, please, and then we'll go to DJ.
Listen, and I embrace all of them type of, at least a lot of them before it got to 3,000, and then on another post it got to 6,000 comments, right? Those type of comments is dismissive of black culture for one,
Mm.
right? That ain't nothing that us black people are a stranger to, right? We know that our culture get dismissed often, right? It's ignorance, that's for sure. It's pure ignorance, and to say who cares or you know or we're a melting pot of cultures. Granted, we America. I mean, we are American. This America. That's what we do. We share culture. But my question is this: why, when I share Black culture, it's a problem? You see what I'm saying? If we sharing culture, okay, I'm telling you how we contributed. Okay, why is that a problem? Right? See, all that backlash is just a receipt that the truth was served. That's all it is. Right? We wouldn't even be having this conversation if it didn't matter. So those little lines saying it shouldn't matter or it doesn't matter. If it didn't matter, we wouldn't be having this conversation. The comment section wouldn't be so crazy, right? When I educate or when I'm talking to people or whatnot, I speak to the deeper thing, right? I go deeper than just the surface level, right? And everything I do, I just go deeper. It's like if you tell me you got, you know, your clientele is bad, Cole, how do I fix it? I'm gonna say, what's wrong with you? See, I'm gonna go deep. And I do the same thing when I look at that comment section, because there's a deeper problem here. When people write like that, you wrote a damn paragraph, you're writing a damn story in the comment section, and it's negative, then there's something deeper there, right? See, people confuse acknowledgement with exclusion. See, I notice a lot of people feel like they being left out because we celebrating Black culture, when at no point did I say that we the best and all of this other stuff. I didn't exclude anybody. I'm just magnifying a contribution of African Americans to the barber community. That shouldn't even bother you. If somebody, if a Latino person come to me now and say, hey man, Latino started the Edgar. I know a little bit about the history of the Edgar because I took the time to educate myself. I'll say, okay, that's you. You can have it. It wouldn't even bother me, right?
Getting the Bad Bunny.
But one, the world ain't wearing it. You know what I mean? But it's just like, you know, when you hear this pushback, it's really like fear. Like people fear that they are gonna be left out because the other marginalized culture has something, right? That's a deeper psychological meaning. When two cultures that's talking, and because most of those comments are Black and brown people. That's why I'm saying this. And let's just call it what it is. You rarely see a lot of white people in there. It's a lot Black and brown people. You know where we at in society and how this thing rolls out for both of us, right? If they feel like if we claim something, then we're excluding them, and then we're gonna get up one. Crab in a bucket mentality. Once again, you know what I mean? I'm not excluding, I'm just saying these are our contributions to the game. Anything any Latino person or white person contributed, okay, we can all use it. It's fine. That's cool. It doesn't bother me, right? If it benefits us, let's give credit where credit is due, and then we move forward and let's all work together. But I wonder why those type of comments bother people. Why does it bother you? When I'm doing this whole influencer thing, making all this comment, I get 100, you real Cole, et cetera, et cetera. When I'm just talking about, you know, barbering and all that. As soon as I celebrate something Black, I get 3,000 negative comments. There's a deeper problem there.
Exactly.
That's good.
So, yeah.
DJ.
So the comment starts off with who cares? The answer is we do. Full stop. That's it.
Everybody that comment do.
That's enough. And on top of that, what we all discussed offline, I'm going to go ahead and say again here is the barber world doesn't operate in a vacuum. We're not immune from the ills of society. I just had a post up today that says, actually, we probably the first people that get the inside take on what's really going on in society, because we tend to have the most unfiltered conversations about society inside our four walls of our shop. And so when you look at stuff like this, like I said, when I see racial incidents, I've been doing activism for a while. So for me, when I see a racial incident, I zoom into the incident and then I zoom out to the principle of that incident. So like Cole was talking about, the principle of the incident for me right here was the anti-Black sentiment within the barber community, and how is that affecting the greater barber community? Because we all understand right now in our niche, Spanish people are basically in control of the expos and culture and all of these things, which led to the question of, like Marcus say, I asked, why is the black people not showing up? This is how the racial element got to get the onion peeled back. We're not exempt from society, y'all. And if we're gonna sit here, we can't pretend that we are. But the good thing is, and the beautiful thing is that I express to everybody else also, is that we don't have to be bogged down with trying to solve the ills of society, right? We can zoom out, see what the problem is, and see that the answer to the problem really is unity. So now let's zoom back in. Where are we at within the barber community, and how do we get to that point of unity? For me, I think it's a three-part answer. There's the addressing that the Spanish community has to do within itself with that sentiment. There's what we need to do as a black community to have something strong and within ourselves to have and hold and have to represent, and then how that comes together furthering in the greater community. But the problem is, at this point, is the minute I call it the black catch 22, and I got that from that educational thing that I did. So it'd be like, hey, black culture is having this problem. Black people say, hey, as black people, let's address this problem. And then the response be, well, why I gotta be black?
Yep.
Now we can't even address our own problem. So in that instance, it's going to take some of us that don't care about the backlash of being progressively black to say it's black because we said so. That's the end of that conversation. We're back focused.
But
and
just
go ahead.
But just like everything else in society, with black people in America, we get pushed down, and people got the mindset that we don't supposed to be up. If you speak well, they say, who do you think you are if you're black?
Yeah.
Right? First thing they do, they question your credentials, et cetera, et cetera. Soon as you have something, they say no, because we don't supposed to have nothing. We supposed to be at the bottom, and we supposed to stay there, and they develop that mindset from where.
Right. So my response to that would be that's why I think is, I ain't gonna say great, but I think that's the advantage of us being in this industry and it being such a tight-knit group in the industry that we can address those type of things. So yes, while that's a fact, we also have access to a DL, to a Marcus, to a John Mosley, to a U, that can sit down at a table and say, hey, all right, well, let's just say we're all of a sudden not accepted at all in the greater barber community. It's not as if we're shit out of luck. We have all the greats that we need in order to continue to push the culture forward. Exactly. We don't have to beg for a seat at the table. First of all, we built the table. We still at the table. It's just, what are we going to do as far as the contribution being recognized at the table? How do we want to approach that? That's our internal conversation to have. And so, and third is, like I say, coming together for the greater conversation of, all right, so we have our thing, there's a thing, and then there's the main thing. Are we going to show up to Jackie's show? Are we going to show up to Marcus's show? Are we going to show up to Cole? I see you on the post early on Facebook. Are we going to show up to Al's show in the summer when it come back around? Like, these are the things. Are we going to decide what is important to us culturally in order to maintain where we at and elevate where we at? DL is somebody to me that I've talked to offline plenty of times. Me and DL had in-depth conversations about his need to be back visible for the purpose of young black barbers seeing the greatness.
Yes,
I've had the same conversation with John Mosley. I had it at CT when they pulled up and they won awards that night. I turned to both of them and told them, man, listen, I ain't crazy, man. God don't make mistakes.
Hey, that's I'm loving the conversation. And Ivan, I don't know how many of the posts that you read of the comments, but do you have any idea of why so much backlash was given on those posts? On those comments?
The interesting comment that I think that I'm taking from this, the quote that you put up, the comment that you put up, how would we feel about it if we flipped the order of the comments? Because he started out with who cares, and obviously that's a trigger point, and then he moved into, can we all just appreciate each other and get along? I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly what he said, which I think ends that comment on a very strong and positive sentiment. It's America, melting pot, unite and share each other's cultures. That's a great statement. I don't know that too many people are going to try to argue with that statement. So if you flip the order of the way in which the comment was written, take that second portion as support for unity and togetherness and understanding. And then you go to the who cares. Then it turns into DL's conversation of, well, the answer is you say who cares because you don't know. Because you don't know the history. You're ignorant of the backstory and the background and the need to recognize and acknowledge. And why is it important to recognize and acknowledge some of this history? So if you flip it around, if you start with the positive comment, and then you get to the, okay, now we just got to do a little bit of learning. That's why some of it was puzzling to me as I read through. And again, from where I sit, just utterly surprised that so many of the comments that were negative and were coming from a place of criticism were coming from other Black folks. That's hard for me to sort of get my head around. And I have my own unique oppressed minority perspective, and some of you may not be aware. I'm Jewish. And in being Jewish, in a lot of cases, I'm not considered white. I'm not thought of in that way. So I have a whole different perspective on being different, being separated, being treated. And, here in America right now, I don't think we need to run a contest. Who's being treated worse? Everybody's got, a hand to raise in that conversation with the struggles that the Jewish community is currently experiencing in that way here in this country. And some of those problems, obviously are emulated and exemplified at some of our very highest levels of leadership, which is not a good thing for the tone we've set. So in that one comment, let's take the last part first. We're all together, but let's throw in the notion of the importance of being educated, knowing and learning about the things we don't know about.
DL, I got one for you. I think you'll like this one. I bet y'all invented the light bulb and the electricity too, huh?
Motherfucker never heard of Lewis Latimer. This is crazy.
Wow.
that was a hard one right there.
You want to give them a little education?
Lewis Latimer created the light bulb and the telephone. He was the one who created it, but yet and still, when it comes to the patent, and they wouldn't allow a Black man to have a patent back then, they would give the credit to Bell. They would give the credit to somebody else. And that's how that came about. So it amazes me how we have this. 1940 to 1960. In 1940, the patent was done. Gilmore Gonzalez in 1940 created the patent. By 1960, the color television was invented by a Latin man. 1969, Domingo Santo Lieto was the first to create the artificial heart, another Latin man. Rian Silver, she is actually in something, and this just amazes me about this young lady. So Rian Silva, she is actually in the union that I'm into today, who created something that was very special. She created the sponge that was worldwide application of creating flawless blends of makeup on the face. That was a Latin girl. She's here to this day. 1949, Angela Ruiz Robles. She created the first, and this is so funny, in 1949, she created it, the first ebook. In 1949, the technology did not catch up until just now. And then they give the credit to somebody else, but a Latin woman created it. So to answer your first question of who cares, I care. Those were Latin people who had inventions that really revolutionized our lifestyle. Each one of them. And they were Latin. So when you say who cares, we all care. And I don't think Marcus, I don't think Cole, I don't think any of the rest of the guys on here would say that's a lie. That doesn't make any sense. Because the bottom line is this issue that we're seeing right now, a lot of barbers, influencers, heavyweights don't want to have this conversation. And the reason why they don't want to have this conversation because they might be exposed.
Yep.
Period.
Matter of fact,
So people said to me, "DL, man, don't go on there because you might mess around and lose your money." What money? The money that I create, the money that I create for myself. I
Now
am.
see,
I just don't understand how we are so afraid to have the real conversations. Barbers should be united. Barbers, and I can tell you right now, I love my Latin community. They teach me so many different things, and they are so special, so unique, and so different. And with that Latin community, and with the African American community, and with the Caucasian community, we mix all that up and we make greatness as a whole.
Yes.
But the minute that we start separating and who did this and who did that, one guy said, "I don't respect DL Master Barber, F him." And so the guy said, "Well, why would you say such a thing? Man, and he said that NIGGA don't cut hair. I cut hair all the time. Just because I don't post it." So I said, I wish I was there, because I would say, them shoes that you got on your feet, then you must not respect Michael Jordan, and he don't play basketball no more.
Straight up.
Man.
Straight up.
So it's amazing how people present their hatred towards people of color when they don't truly even understand them. And so this whole thing, this whole conversation, this whole melting pot is really good for us. It's really good for us. And I want to thank Ivan for even taking the time and having the balls to even get up here with us to have this conversation. Because again,
with no
people
hesitation.
say, "How dare him?" or "Why would he do that?" He let the black people have their pouty time.
Yeah. But I shared this with y'all offline, but I'm gonna share this online. And I said one of the things that made me really, really like Ivan, and it was racial, but not so much racial. It was the humanity that I've seen him see in black people. And it was when we was, to me, I don't even think I ever told Ivan this. It was talking about, I ain't gonna put nobody's name out there. We was talking about the antiseptic spray guns that are out now, with the antiseptic, that's the little blue and all that. And Ivan was furiously against it. Like, yo, I cannot stand it. I think it should be banned. I don't think it should be here because I see what happens to kids in Chicago. In that moment, I knew that Ivan sees humans as humans. And that is all that we're really telling people, to see black people as humans, just like you see the next person as a human. That, for me, that was a lot of things, because I'm here in Oklahoma, man, I'm in home of the polite races. There are so many white people that are absolutely, hey, how you doing, honey? But can't stand your black ass. So I look for those cultural cues in conversation to let me know, all right, can I be cool with this white person just on a person-to-person level, or should I still have a certain level of guard up? And that's just me being transparent. Me be able to be on a job with Ivan for a couple of days and have those conversations with him where he's just talking and he doesn't understand that he's explaining that part to me, that I see that he sees the humanity in people. That's the thing that's for me. And as far as the Latin community, I'm with Cole on that very first response post. He said, this ain't how it be, boots on the ground. When you be outside in the mix, these same cowards with these fake comments and all this real slick shit, they don't be like that at the shows. They don't be like that when you really out at the expos. Curtis Smith, the same guy that invented that fade that DL's talking about, is who gave me my start in education. But since then, Danny Amorum, Angel Rawls, and Chico Boom have probably been the most 3 instrumental people in helping me push my my career forward. Those are all 3 Spanish guys. You know what I'm saying? And I love those guys to death. I will never take anything away from them. But they also understand the need to have cultural pride, which is the other part of the conversation I was saying when we dealing with this black versus brown situation that shouldn't even be. I don't think it's going to be a hard thing to overcome because the opposition, I hate having to use all these quotations that we're using.
You used a million quotations. I like the
man. Spanish people understand cultural pride to a certain extent.
But DJ,
go ahead.
DJ, you seen who I went live with and discussed it with afterwards, right? With my girl.
Right.
She's a Latina. She's a Latina. She's Puerto Rican. And don't nobody know about cultural pride like a Puerto Rican.
Man.
No, you're right.
And I did that on purpose to show people.
I knew you did.
Because for one, I'm black. I can't be racist. I can't control nothing. I don't control nothing. Right.
Right.
And I'm not prejudiced. Yes, I take pride in my people. Yes, I do. However, I did that to show that there ain't no black and brown beef. That's only a certain amount of people with a certain type of mindset. And to even think like that, they learned that behavior in their houses, man. They didn't learn that. They just, like you said, they bringing it to the barber community. And it's a shame that some of those barbers are behind the chair servicing people.
Can I add something to that? Can I ask you guys this? Can I add something to that?
Let me ask you guys this.
Go ahead.
If I was to make this statement, how many people would be offended? That in the 1800s, 1840 to be exact, that black barbers were the best shavers out of all races.
How many people would be offended?
Yeah.
I think you would get the same similar backlash that Cole got.
Now here's the funny thing. Out of all other races, black barbers were the only ones that if they drew one drop of blood, they will be hung on the spot.
You're gonna die.
Yep. You will die on the spot.
Yep.
And white men would go to black barbershops because they were the best shavers, because they had to take their time and they knew what they were up against. When as opposed to a white barber going to a white client going to a white barber, he could cut them and then no big deal. They can laugh, they can joke, they can have all this fun. But when a black barber just drew blood on a razor bump, they would kill him. So when your life is on the line,
that's deep,
and you have the audacity to say this person can't do this or that person is not that. What we were up against, if I cut you just a razor bump, they would string you up and hang you right there on the spot.
That's when you talk about saving my life. You know, it's funny, even going back to that point that you were saying though, when we were talking about the light bulb, that comment is funny because I actually found myself in a beef during the pandemic, same type of situation. I work with a company, as we all know, that I used to work with a company. We came out with a very unique design that was like the same, like 2 years later, the whole thing was copied by another company that wasn't even doing that design. With me being by myself, I didn't really have anybody to kind of defend me, you know what I'm saying, or have my back in that situation. But that other company, it may start with a J or it may end with an L. I don't know what it could be called. It could have an L in the middle of the two. It could have a lot of letters. But I remember I had a specific issue with one of the barbers who worked for that company that started with a J. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to talk about it. But the company that stole from Bevel. I mean, dang. Okay. Long story short, I was getting into a beef just because I was like, yo, I don't think that's really cool. I was told, who do you think you are? This is just capitalism. And it was told by me by somebody brown, and the dude had the nerve to meet me at Boom's situation when he had his he had a show, and I was even willing to like have a conversation with the guy. The guy got an attitude with me. You know how close I was from jumping on that boy ass, you know what I'm saying? But what I've realized is we have to stay in a level of composure that most people don't have to have.
Man.
Absolutely.
As he just said, and that's going back to what he said, we can't spill a drop of blood. We can't spill a drop of blood when it comes to conversations. We can't spill a drop of blood when it comes to like services. We can't drop no blood when it comes to excellence. We have to maintain on everything that we do. We have to maintain excellence and perfectionism and humility.
We do to an extent. To an extent. But this is where I think the barber culture and specifically the way that Cole has built his platform aids us in this way. So if y'all talk to me a lot, y'all know I love to compare this shit to hip hop. I love hip hop. I love barbering.
I do the same thing. Yes.
Cole is an absolute direct example of Houston independent hip hop. Look at how this man built his platform. He doesn't need anybody else to prop up anything. He don't need a major label. You see what I'm saying? That allows him the freedom to have anything. Ain't nobody finna call Cole and tell him the same thing they tell with DL. Now they know DL has made so much money off the major labels. They're like, oh man, don't do, but they don't understand his level of independence and truly not giving a fuck. But I think the fact that we have that level of independence allows us the freedom to be more free to do the thing that we need to do and not worry about corporate backlash, mainstream society backlash.
Yeah.
But it's sad. It's sad that we have to be that way. And Marcus
Absolutely.
hit the nail on the head where he says we have to do more. We have to be extra. We have to be extra kind. We have to be extra considered loyal. We have to be everything and above. And then we have to be supersede expectations when it comes to our haircuts compared to somebody else's haircuts. Other people can hit that stage and we don't have to hit that stage. But there is somebody that I have to pay homage to, that's younger than me, that I watched grow up as a child, and I'm much older than him, which is John Mosley. And he has figured out a way to move and wiggle his way through this industry on a high level and cannot get respect from black men, cannot get respect from a Latin man, cannot get respect from, but the funny thing is that when he moves through that Caucasian lifestyle, they love John Mosley. But when it comes to the educator of the year, John has won even Naha, he's won the highest awards, and he's like Rodney Dangerfield, and Ivan knows this. He's like Rodney Dangerfield. He can't get no respect. And he deserves all the respect. But nobody wants to credit him for the work that he's done. Nobody wants to credit him for creating a curriculum for Paul Mitchell. Right. Nobody wants to credit him for the things that he has done. When he says he's popular nobody, he is very popular and seems like he's nobody.
Man.
Yeah, John, that guy. I just did an interview with John and just talked to him on the pod. And when I say it's just like you said, man, the education, the way that he was able to set up and write curriculums for a whole product line that people would have never thought. It's just like, these are the things that we contribute. Like you said, we're not trying to exclude we're not trying to create any division. It's just like, hey, we're bringing pride back. As we always say,
yes.
we are very hard on ourselves, critically wise too, as Cole does a lot. He says like, yo, you barbers out there smelling like weed. You're out there hunching around, like
chasing that
gal. You're out there, lady low and spreading it wide. You know what I'm saying? Like, my boy be out here like he really, but it's the level of professionalism and the level of expectation we have for ourselves.
Standards.
If we're not meeting a standard, we ourselves would check ourselves and be like, hey, step it up, bro. Like let's continue the lineage of amazing barbers and contributing to this thing. Like you just said, man, I have a joint, the summit, as you guys know, October 18th through the 23rd. It is one of those things. It's a round table where we go from here, where we go further. How do we get together? And it's one of those things where barbers from all around the country come to link and come to iron sharpening iron, talking about like how we get product companies, talking about brand deals, all these different things that are important to us. And so that's what I like you said, we got to get behind each other too, because if I don't do a summit, then it won't be done. And then now we miss another thing that is an opportunity for us to get stronger, better, have a higher standard for ourselves, have a higher pride, and not look at ourselves like, yo, we just out here just throwing up cuts, dropping hair on the floor. Nah, man, I'm sculpting guys. I'm curating culture with every opportunity that somebody comes in my chair. I'm curating their mind to think that they can do more than what they automatically thought when they got in the chair. It's like a barber. We heal the client heals the family heals the community heals the city, the state, the country, and the country, the world. If we get back on our stuff like we're intending to do, and we have done, and we continuously build, man, there's nothing stopping. There's nothing stopping not just us, but our industry, because we bring so much innovation. So that's my 2 cents. I like I said, I love us. I love
you had a lot of
Ivan,
2 cents, Marcus.
I'm sorry,
you
yeah,
had
that's
a lot of 2 cents.
That's $22.
But
$22.
well said though, man. Well said. Appreciate that.
I'm gonna put this.
We got another comment.
I want Lon to read it, and then we're gonna get into our next segment.
All right, so this next one says, it's my fellow Latinos. What about African American history scares you? Why do you think that honoring it causes division. That would only be the case for racist people. The rest of us can honor diversity without insecurity. We can celebrate another in unity. History only causes division or race wars for racism people. I think he meant racist people. No, for racism people. Check yourself. We are kin with African American roots. Let's honor and celebrate the history of the culture most Latinos in the U.S. end up feeling most aligned with due to our ancestral mixed DNA. That's
So
yeah, that's like actually that's my girl.
Hey,
I was wondering that reading that name. I like that tag.
I like that breakdown. And real quick before you jump into that, Cole, you pointed out earlier that you had your girl. I wasn't sure if that was your lady or if she, partnered with you at the shop or whatever. But I love that you were speaking what you were saying right in front of a Latino woman, and she was able to give perspective on why would this be offensive to me? He's not saying anything bad about me and my culture. Y'all did that, man. I saw that and I loved it, man. So what's your response to this this comment right here, you guys?
I mean, that's my girl's she's educated. She educates, she teach, she travel and teach, same thing, right? She inspires me a lot. And if you ever try to get in contact with me for anything, that's my assistant. She gonna handle everything as well. So I'm not surprised at her comment. We have these conversations often, right? We go back and forth to Puerto Rico. She taught me so much about the Latino culture, man. And I've seen it, right? I've traveled all around, man, in different countries, and I've noticed it ain't too many differences, right? So I'm well educated on the Latino community. That's why DJ earlier when you were saying you calling them Spanish, they don't like that, by the way, because that's like calling all of us English because we speak English. Spanish is people from Spain, and Hispanic is mostly a Latino person that identify with the white side. The Latino is African descent, right? Which is Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Brazilians, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I'm with that, right? I'm with the unity, but it's not, to me, it ain't even unity. It's that I know that those are our brothers and sisters. So those comments shows me a lot of ignorance when I see a lot of Latino guys that's playing a race, trying to be racist, because you can't be racist. You ain't got no power in this country either, just like us. But you thinking that you're going to be accepted by whites because you're against blacks, and that's not the case. The thing is, I'm so educated that, like, me and my girl did our DNA test. We sat down, we did our DNA test. She's 25% African, and she's a larger percentage European, and then Taino, which is Puerto. She's from the island, from the mountains. She ain't a New Eureka, none of that. She's from the mountains in the island. But me and her DNA is exactly the same. It's just mine's have more of the African in it, right? And then my native is actually Native American, right? And then so I look at that, and then she educated me a lot, and I even educated myself. We watched documentaries, all this different type of stuff. I learned about the Latino community, and I noticed those are our brothers and sisters as well. We all African descent. Every human on earth is African descent, but I just mean from the slave trade, we all African descent, right? And that made me more acceptable to others because I grew up in Texas. At one point, we ain't fool with Mexicans. We would put hands on them. They would put hands on us, and it wasn't no getting along until later on in life when I made a lot of friendships and all that. Right. But I'm educated on that, so it opened my mind up so they can stop with the racist thing. They can't bring that my way.
So we're at the fourth segment of this, and the last and final segment, and it's all how do we move forward?
Hold on a second before you change that subject.
Oh, okay. I was like, who said that?
I wanna just, because I'm gonna tell you, anytime I'm talking on this thing, I'm just gonna give y'all history, period.
Yes.
Because I think we need to know. But when the Beatles came out, the Beatles gave all of their credit to their style, the way they curated their music, to Muddy Waters. Period. Mick Jagger came out after he seen him one time and started trying to mimic. And when you see all of the gyrating and all of the dancing came from James Brown, and he is the one who created the documentary on the movie. When you seen the James Brown movie, Mick Jagger's the one that paid for that.
Wow.
The funny thing is our history. Black Americans are the architects of jazz, of culture, of culture, of technology, of cuisine. Black Americans created a lot of that. Latins created a lot of that. We can't fight and say who did more and who did what. No. We all are a part of this community. And we have to understand that we are a part of this community. But at the same time, for barbers, we have to, what my dad calls a come to Jesus meeting with ourselves. And we have to really understand, where is this barber industry going? Because as far as I'm concerned, the reason why I came back, and I told DJ this, is because we racing to the bottom. You want to be so tough, and you talk about you making all of this money, but you broke and you still live at home with your mama, but you got a lot to say on that keyboard. Cole is speaking about being professional. DL Master Barber is speaking about being professional. Ivan Zoot is speaking about being professional. Marcus is talking about, listen, man, we need to iron sharpen iron, steel sharpen steel. I've been in the industry for a long time. Let's all come together as a community to work ourselves out. Then we have the United Barbers saying, listen, man, let's have a conversation. We have all of this, but the main objective goal here is, where in the hell are we going?
Yes.
What are we doing? And what does Barbers really stand for? Because one of the things that hurt me to the core when these fires jumped off is I did not, in the city that I lived in, where I was raised in and where my barbershop was, the city burnt to the ground. Over 3,500 businesses and thousands of homes burnt down. And when all of that happened, do you know I only had one barber that did not work for me anymore, but he worked around the same area as me. He was the only one that showed up. The rest of the people that showed up is because I went online and said, I need help. And it was celebrities, it was friends, it was family members, everybody, but no barbers. And my question is, what is our job? We take money from the community, but are we pouring into the community? And so I was truly upset at my own barbers. And I can tell you, I did not even talk to them after, because they called wondering where we work, and I know where I'm going to work. I don't know where you working, because I didn't care. Because if you didn't care about the community enough, and now you expected me, as much as I done, as much money as I loaned you, as much money as things that I got you guys out of trouble that you couldn't get yourselves out of because you didn't have the money to pay for it. And when our community needed us, where were you? And my question to you, as barbers who are listening to this, who are barbers who are online right now for United Barbers, from Atlanta to New York to Detroit to Chicago to Texas, what is our job description? Because we could talk about the racism, but what is our job description? Because ultimately, I thought it was about customer service. I thought it was about protecting the client. But obviously, it's about being a celebrity. It's about who makes the most money. And most of y'all don't make hardly no money. You claiming you make money, but do you really make money when you don't even have money making money for you while you're not even working? And I know that's a fact. So my question is, what we need to do is figure out a way on what our job titles are. What does it mean to be a barber, and not what it means to be a celebrity barber? Because there ain't no such thing of it. You guys made that SHIT up.
Yes, I say it for you. Shit.
Yes, I've never heard of a celebrity plumber. I've never heard of a celebrity roofer. I've never heard of a celebrity bootmaker. I ain't never heard of none of that. I only heard of a barber.
Yeah.
So when you tell me about this, all I want to know is, what is our job description? What do we do in the community besides talk and take people's money?
I think
if we can come together at that pace, guys, later on, I know this is not the conversation, but my emotions overtook me, and I just want to know if we can come together some kind of way. The barbers that with the Cole is the young, DL Master Barber is the old, Marcus is the old, Ivan is the old, Marcus, you in the middle.
I was about to
DJ,
say.
you the young.
I was about to say. I'm in the old.
Yeah,
Marcus
but
got
I
some
just want
rage
to
popping.
know, what is our job description? Because me and Ivan has one. We have a job description. We know exactly because we come from the old school. But somewhere down the line, we have wavered and got away from being barbers and got to be trying to be popular.
I think the very first thing I would say is you have to listen. So the reason I even got involved in activism was back when the Trayvon Martin situation happened. And I had people pouring into my barbershop with nowhere else to really express how they felt, nowhere else to really feel safe about having certain discussions. And that's what made me start opening my barbershop to having community discussions. And a mentor of mine at that time in real estate had told me, hey, two things. Be careful about how you talking, because you are probably going to be one of the only black men in authority that a lot of these young black boys are seeing on a day-to-day. So mind what you say in front of them. And the second thing is give back to the people that put their hard-earned money right in your hand.
Man,
I'm from a small town. These people are coming in and putting, and we all from the area of enough of cash. They going to work, they cashing their check, they counting you as part of their budget, and they putting that hard-earned money in your hand. You got to be able to do something. If nothing else, listen to them when they come in that barbershop. And the general statement that you feeling, hey, we can't have this. Hey, we need this. Hey, our kids can't read. You need to address that. You the senator of the community. You know the teachers. You know the tutors. You know the people that has the church that'll open the door. You're supposed to create that program. If you're not, you're supposed to spearhead the people that help create the program. Listen to the people that come in your shop and quit thinking it's just all about the vibe or the music. The music ain't for you, no way.
That's what I be telling my barber.
I say that too.
These TVs aren't for you. This music is not for you. You should have your head down, cutting them clients, talking to them, not paying attention to none of that. But you're right. Good job. So, Ivan, you have anything to say on this?
Yeah, Ivan.
Well, how do we move forward? Now I know we're kind of talking about as a people, as a black people in this industry, but how do we move this industry forward? We know that when we go to these events, it is a plethora of Latinos and brown people that are, like DJ said, running these events, throwing these events, and competing in these events. If you ask me, I think we need to have more black categories, the wave and taper, the afro, or you know, something that brings that kind of culture into the to the battles. Because I heard on the platform, I think it was Tara's platform, that black barbers aren't coming out to compete because they have a hard time cutting straight hair. So
I don't even care about the competing. I'm gonna be honest. I don't even care about the competing.
Me neither.
When I first started going to shows, my very first exotic show, I didn't even go to the competition. I went to the classes. I didn't even know about the competition part. And then I drove 3 hours home. The part that we need is the education. Yeah. Like DL said, we are at an all-time high with generating the income. You got 25-year-olds making six figures a year. What are you doing with your money? Because you're gonna be broke by 40. If you don't want to be like the OGs that you don't respect, then you need to be listening to a DL. You need to be listening to a Cole. You need to be listening to an Ivan Zoot. You need to be listening to how to structure your business for growth. Instead of worrying about if your fade is better than the Latino guy who got the pink sprinkles in his hair. Who give a damn, bro? It's going to be a trophy. You're going to get that moment. Yeah. Great. Your clients are awesome. Whatever. If you go back to that shop and you tell your clients, man, I took a business class, and you start talking about finances, you start talking about credit score, the conversations that you have, all these professionals y'all say y'all want in your chair, you can't even have them conversations with them because you have not done what Cole says is self-development, so you can be of value to these people.
Exactly. The deeper issue there, DJ, is insecurity, right? The barber competitions only feed one thing, and I didn't judge plenty of competitions. It only feed one thing, give you instant gratification, because that's the new era. That's how they operate. Instant gratification, and it gets you some type of recognition. That means more to them. When you're an insecure person, those things mean everything to you. Versus what I talk about all the time, personal development, you and your clients, and building your clientele and building a stable clientele and actually being a successful barber. And then you dealing with people. So you need to be giving those people the best version of you possible, because you're making an impact on a lot of people's lives, right? But those expos are reduced down to that one category. If you mention expos, they go instantly, they start talking about competition as if the education, the discount on the tools, the networking, like none of that matters, right? And those things matter. That competition is that you could, because I've seen barbers win competitions, young barbers, and they go hard for that trophy. You finna go back and you ain't got no clientele in real life. You hitting me up saying, Cole, how to build a clientele. You just did the sprinkles in the haircuts the other day and won the competition. You got 12 trophies on your station, but you ain't got nobody getting your check. Your roster of clients didn't see you in that competition. They wasn't way in New York and Ohio watching you at a competition. They don't give a damn. They want you to be of service to them in your city. How do you dominate in your city, your state, your town, dealing with people, right?
I like that.
The competitions are easy. Talking about a haircut is easy. Y'all know how I get down online, right? They say, Cole, you need to post more haircuts. That's easy. That's the easy part. Posting a haircut, cutting hair is the easy part. But you developing yourself and you being the best version for your clients, and you actually managing your money, building your credit, getting you a little investments on the side, creating something. All that's the hard part, and they don't want to address that. They want to stick to the cut. I can get good at cutting, but that don't mean nothing. It don't.
Y'all
mean
gave some good game.
That kind of goes to the question Ivan had went viral for. Haircuts don't matter.
Don't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know, I've been doing, 30 hair shows a year for decades. And I don't know if anybody ever noticed, I never judge barber competitions. I am asked, every show asks me if I'll judge a category, I'll judge the competition. And the answer is always no. I refuse to judge barber competitions. And the reason I refuse to judge barber competitions is they have no level of legitimacy. And what I mean by that is I have said for years, you cannot conduct a barber competition if the judges are watching people cut, if they knew who cut what. It's just a popularity contest. When I used to run for a manufacturer, the barber competition at Bronner Brothers, one of the key elements of that competition are sequestered, meaning the judges are downstairs locked in a room with food and internet, and they spend the day in that room, and they only leave that room to come up to look at the models. When they look at the models, all of the competitors have been removed from the stage. All the tools have been removed from the stage. Every model has a number. They don't know who cut what. Barber competitions, as they exist in the world today, are largely popularity contests. And I'm not going to use names, but I approached a individual who conducts high-profile shows, and I said, when are you going to run a competition in which your judges are sequestered and they're legitimately judging the haircuts on their own merits? And this person said to me, well, I can't do that because my judges want to be out on the floor networking to promote themselves and their brands too. And I said, well, then they're not judges. And so long story short, barber competitions to me are meaningless. For a lot of the reasons that Cole talked about. They have nothing to do with the business that you're running and your clientele and the way you serve customers. My world records really are meaningless in the sense that these were charity events and publicity stunts that have zero connection to the realities of the real world for barbering. Nobody wants a world record haircut like I did one for those world records. In and of themselves, they are what they are. You won a barber competition, they gave you a trophy. God bless. Mazel tov. That's wonderful. But it has no reality to the world in which we serve our clients every day. And that podcast where we said haircuts don't matter, when DL says, what is our job description? I have said for years, if you got into the haircut business because you thought the haircut business was the business of cutting hair, you're in the wrong business. We are in the business. If DL wants the job description, he knows. Our job description is to build and maintain relationships with humans.
Yes.
By the way, make their hair shorter.
We're in the people business, man. We're in the people business.
We're the people.
What was you saying, Marcus?
Of managing relationships. Exactly.
Yes.
By the way, the guys that figure that out, the guys that have mastered the management of relationships, in a lot of cases, and again, I'm not naming names, in a lot of cases, they are not the best hair cutters out there. Yeah. When I get up in front of a group of barber school students, it is safe to say half the students in the room in barber school already cut hair better than I do. But they cut hair better than they'll ever need to at that point. And, you know, when you talk about attending a show and attending a business class and maybe buying a book, that's, you know, some of these guys are going to show up at a show. They're going to spend $300 on another clipper that they don't need, but they're not going to spend $25 on a book that could change their entire life.
Yeah. I call those James Bond. I call those James Bond barbers. They got every clipper. They got 3 pair edgers. They got 4 pair adjustables. They got all these clippers, and then they're gold, and then they're black, and then they're. I call them all James Bond. But the funny thing, Ivan, let me go around right quick. DJ, how old were you? What when you were born? What year were you born?
80.
Okay, Marcus.
Say that one more time.
What year were you born?
Oh, 83.
Cole?
88.
Okay. So you guys were, so at 88, in 1986, 87, I entered in my first barber competition. So that means you were 1 year old.
I was 6.
Okay. DJ, you say how old? What year?
I was 6. I was 6 in 87.
You were 6 years old.
Poor Cole didn't even exist.
My first barber competition, and it was 300 competitors for that one particular category. 300 competitors. That's a lot of people, right? Then, and this was at the Long Beach Hairdressers Guild, okay? And I was the only black competing. And just like Ivan said, I didn't want to be there because my instructor put me in the competition. But the bottom line is I knew I was not going to win because it was all other races and I was the only black. And everybody was looking at me like, what are you doing here? I didn't want to be there. The bottom line is, but when they went into that room and they came out with the best numbers. Only the top 5 win. I took first place. I ended up winning that 5 years in a row.
Wow.
To the point where they would not let me compete anymore. Now, mind you, you guys at that point, that made you 11, DJ.
Right.
Years old. So while you guys were still running around, playing around, and some of these people online were still swimming in their daddy at that time, but they got a lot to say. But the one thing about it is that I will say this: I was one of the first to be black, to be in that IBS magazine at the time. Ivan was all in it. But
hey, what year were you born?
I was born in. Take a guess.
Well, I think you're about the same age as me, but maybe a year
I'm
or
gonna
two
say
older.
55. He was born in 57.
That's old. That's way older than me. I was born in 1967.
I was close.
When you see a gentleman do this,
1966.
When you see a gentleman do this, that's a
winner
66 move right there.
DL.
What year was I born?
Ivan, you probably like 62.
No, 69.
No, Ivan is probably 58. No, 56.
Born, yeah, I'm gonna say born in 57.
He froze.
That was my dad's age.
Oh yeah, I froze up. No, I'm back. So what year was I born?
We said 52, 62.
I said 69.
63.
63.
Wow.
Somebody said 63.
And you look good. You look good for it. But the bottom line is the reason why I brought that.
Black don't crack.
That's right.
Because we know you got some black in you.
We know what percentage you are.
The reason why I brought that up is because there was a way that for us as African American men, I had to pave the way.
Amen.
I was afraid. I was fearful because I knew that I was not going to win. but there was no racism in it, is because it was only a number.
Yeah, judge blind.
So it was totally different.
That's deep.
It was totally different. And
y'all make me want to see that kind of judging this day. You and Ivan, y'all make me want to see a show
that might be the new move.
Like that. Seriously. Seriously.
Well, here, I
never thought about it. I never thought about it until you popped that up today.
I'll go you one better. I have suggested this, and I've talked to literally every hair show in this country, and not a single hair show promoter is willing to do this. I have suggested if you want to run an honest competition, you run what I call a walk-in competition. Yeah. And what I mean by that, 40 barbers throw their money on the table and show up with their tools. And they pull a number out of a hat, and they are randomly assigned a client. And that client could be long and short and black and white and curly and straight and male and female and Noah's Ark, one of everything, or two of everything if you know the Bible story. But and the answer is, if you've got skills, you're not afraid of what number comes out of the hat and which client, and you would get, and just like a walk-in, they would present the client to 60 seconds before the timer started, and you would have the opportunity to say, "Hi, my name's Ivan. I'm the barber. What can I do for you today?" And then you'd have to serve and be judged, because everybody bring their cousin, and they bring
their best. The one
that have a nice lineup.
They bring somebody they've cut 10,000 times, and half the time they pre-cut half their stuff. And to your point, they're putting sprinkles in. You know, give me a little bit, just give me a little bit of reality.
Yeah.
Hey,
you know what?
Hey, one second. And here's another part that I always wish I could see at a barber competition, and this is some Master Barber stuff, where you take their clippers apart, their edgers apart, and you put them in a box and make them put them back together, and then cut.
Dang.
Well, now you
can't go get that green sticker.
DJ,
now you got to put it together and then cut.
He made your pain now, boy.
Now we talk about some Master Barber stuff. Take your clippers apart and let's say put them back together and then cut.
Well, too many of these clippers, there's no parts because it's all Chinese crap. You know, maybe the other option is you hand them a box of tools, and every competitor has the exact same set of tools.
Man,
wow,
that's a Walmart Jones.
You hand them a liner that hasn't been, 3 hours of messing with the blade to get it gapped up the way you want.
I love this, y'all. So I love this right here.
It's down to real skills.
I love this. Ivan, you came to our show and you didn't share none of these ideas with us, man. I like this.
He told me that
I didn't hear that. I like that. Listen, y'all, so check it out.
Friends. We call each other.
When we started this off, what we said in the beginning, this might be something that has to continue into something else, because the energy in here is so powerful. Everybody is so insightful, man. I want to make sure that we deliver some things that these people can learn from. And we address some of these issues. So, another one was being able to celebrate each other. Like, what's y'all's take on how barbers can celebrate cultures without erasing each other's? You know what I mean? What can we give them from each of you all's powerful perspectives that they can take as food and just go back and process on how to celebrate a culture? Cole, you said it, your lady, I love how you and her did that, man. Like, you're celebrating each other's cultures, but you're not dissing each other's. How can we do that, y'all?
Well, this the thing. That's all I was doing in the first place.
Right.
And I just put up another post talking about African slaves were the first barbers because it was considered servant work. The same reaction is going on in that post. And what I'm saying is, I'm just educating. I ain't playing the race card. I'm educating. Now, you can't stop people from taking posts that's educational, but since it mentions a certain race, you get offended. You can't stop that. That's something that programmed in them. I'm not going to move forward tiptoeing and walking on thin ice to try not to offend someone just because I'm celebrating my culture. I'm not doing that. It's not gonna happen. Now, I already don't offend other coaches or whatnot. I'm black. Hey, I know what it means to be discriminated against, right? So I don't move in that manner. However, if celebrating our culture, celebrating anything that we contributed to barbering, if that offends other people, that's a them problem. That ain't my problem.
It's funny. DJ said it. I think when I was talking to him, he said nobody be getting mad when he said I'm gonna go get some Mexican food.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go to the Chinese
Not
store.
even, yeah, or even this, at CT Expo, and I don't even know the guy, but his name is El Bori, popular barber, popular Latino barber. Got on stage and was like, "Oh yeah, Dominicano, Puerto Rico, Panama, blah blah." Not one, even us black people. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yep, you're right. You're right.
That's how you do it, and that's normal. So all I'm saying is, we got to be comfortable doing that, and you got to not give a fuck if they don't cheer.
If you do that at a show, DJ, you get up there if you want. Say, yeah, black barbers, black. Do it if you want to. It's gonna be your last show.
You get up there and talk about West Side.
Hey, listen here. Hey, listen, Cole. And that's when they'll get to see that side of me that how you had talked about before. Listen, I ain't no easy win now.
Man,
I'm friendly and I'm cool, but I ain't no easy win.
But like DL said though, there's a certain
ain't nothing. There's nothing about me when you meet me in person and say, "Try this." That ain't what that is.
They say, "Try Jesus, don't try me."
Finally, like you say, is celebrate each other. We just have to know that, hey, man, and this may sound arrogant from a black man's point of view, but we've been celebrating everybody else. Just follow our lead, man.
Yeah.
Just follow our lead. Clap when we clap, and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
I would like to, what is that mountain where they had these presidents at?
Rushmore.
So every time I've seen a post on Mount Rushmore for barbers, I've noticed that it's been nothing but Latins. I've never seen one ever that they said, well, now, mind you, out of all of the barbers that have been around for all of these years, and a lot of Latin barbers have come up under our wings, and we had taught them, and then they went on and learned and got their shops, and a lot of times they don't hire us in them. The funny thing is that it amazes me that how we have so many Latin barbers that we all know and love, and they are on that mountain, but there's not ever been a mention of one black barber ever being able to be up there with them. Ever. I've seen all of the comments. I went down the list, and every once in a while somebody will comment and say, oh, maybe DL Master Barber or somebody, but I never heard of Curtis Smith. I've never heard it. And it seems to me and DJ had brought this to my attention. He said, well, the barbers today might not know y'all. Since they don't know you, why would they say put your name? But here's where it gets real muddy at. The ones that come from behind me, right? The ones that come from behind me is the ones who should speak up and say, hold on. Because none of this truly would be a connection. And I'm going to speak on this and put my foot down on it, and I'm going to stand 10 toes down. And anybody that's on this live right now, this is where you get mad at. If any of you guys want to challenge the gangster of this, y'all go right on ahead. But the bottom line, none of us black and Latins wouldn't even be together if it wasn't for Curtis Smith, period. If it was not for Curtis Smith and that exotics battles where all of the black
all
and
over
Latins
the place
came together, there was no fighting. We never had a fight in one of those events. Most the Angel Raws, the Pacinos, the
Chico
Jay
Bones,
Majors, all of those,
Jesse
every
Daniels.
single one of them came from exotics. And
Absolutely.
all of those are my exotic brothers. Period.
Absolutely.
Point blank. And Ivan knows this. Now, you have the Caucasian shows, the big shows, but when it came to bringing two communities together, there was no way that anybody can exclude Curtis Smith from this conversation. Period.
Facts.
Period. And it's a shame that barbers who've been around, who's still relevant to this day, want to exclude and say that Curtis don't belong on top of that mountain. Period. Because if
I
it
hear
wasn't
another
for
post
him,
coming from you.
Andy's clippers, wall clippers, Babyless wasn't even around.
Nah.
None of these clippers, but
Nope.
Walls,
And this Oster.
Andy's, Osters, they was making goop globs of money when Exotic showed up.
So
Period.
was.
Period.
But
They was
DL,
always making money.
to DJ's point though, how do you bridge that though? You know what I mean? Nobody
The way
here
you
is
bridge
nobody
it,
nobody
the
here
way
is
you
arguing,
bridge
but
it,
generational. How do you
the
do
way
that?
you bridge it is each one teach one. That's how you
Yep.
bridge it. You don't just you don't just exclude. I mean, at one time Pacino was at his hottest. I don't know where he is right now because I don't follow like that. But the bottom line is he was at his hottest, and still to this day, the Latin community is always going to be like, oh, he's that guy. He's the Ferrari, the Lambo guy, whatever the case may be. But they ain't gonna forget. The funny thing about us is even when we talk about slavery, we bring it up. You're angry. Why are you guys bringing that up? Why are you talking about slavery? Why are you talking about this? But the funny thing is when 9/11 hit, they say never forget.
Mm-hmm.
Never forget. But it's sad that anytime it comes to us, like there was one time, I'm not even going to say his name because he should be ashamed of himself. But they had asked the question, if you can eliminate one person from the barber industry, who would it be? The first person he said immediately, oh, it'd be DL Master Barber.
Oh damn.
And he was a Latin barber, and he's a very well-known barber.
Damn.
He said DL Master Barber for sure. And he said, why? He said, what has he done for this industry? He's done nothing. All he did is a haircut.
Wow.
And then he said, well, who else would it? He said Curtis Smith.
Damn.
This is a very well-known Latin barber.
I'm gonna hit you up and ask you later on.
Yeah,
I damn near want him to say it right now.
I'm like, hey man, keep it funky, bro.
But the sad thing about that is this. Every time that barber, when he was coming up with his company, and I was doing every single show, and everybody knows at that one particular time, I was the #1 host of all of those shows, from BarberCon to you name it, I was the host. And every time I see him, I will always say, hey man, you want a better booth, you want a better space, I will always bring him up on stage and let him talk about his products, the whole 9 yards. But the first person he said I would eliminate, and then he said, and the reason why, and he said, man, DL's done so much. He said, yeah, man, but he ain't popular.
Damn.
Funny thing is the people that I know that has less than 2,000 followers that are sitting on $2.6 billion. Another one that I know is worth $4.9 billion. He has 1,100 followers. So does followers really justify your intelligence? Does followers justify how popular you are? Does followers justify your experience? But the thing that he said the most was he ain't done nothing. He ain't popular. And this is a Latin barber that everybody knows, trusts, and loves.
Barber Dog responded to my question of how do we spread that, well, not just move forward, but how do we educate, how do we keep that education from that past moving forward? She said soaking it up and speaking, us talking and sharing together. I asked these questions. I love it. I love learning it, but I'm thinking of these new barbers that, like DJ is saying, that don't know. I'm wanting to know, how can they specifically look at something like this and go, oh, okay, that's how I can go back and learn about this and learn about that. So maybe it is going back and researching exotics. Some of this stuff is online, as you could catch YouTube videos.
We need a movie.
A movie. Yeah. I dug back. So me and Tamil throw barber battles. I honestly didn't know the history of barber battles. I had no clue of it. We seen one by Cuts by Vic out here on the West Coast. Loved it. It was amazing. I didn't even know barbering had this side of the industry. And I was like, dude, we got to do this and bring it to Sacramento. We did it, sold it out, blew it up. And that's what we became known for on this side of the country. I had no idea all of these other ones were even going on. I wouldn't know how to go and find that out. But now as we start growing and we start traveling the country, building relationships, meeting people, we found out that this was happening everywhere. Matter of fact, we even created Tamil's hat. We created Barber Love, just because we really experienced Barber Love. It wasn't from anything else. Come to find out, there's a lady in Florida who's been saying Barber Love for 10, 15 years.
So
And that
Jesse Lima.
that became
for that. And you can't exclude Neri either.
no, and so to my point though, I started wondering what else had happened before we got here. And I started going back on YouTube and just looking. Joe Flano, we met Joe Flano in the industry. I had no idea he was hosting back when barber battles weren't barber battles. Barber battles were a segment of a hair show.
Right.
So for me, man, I just wish there was a formal way we could answer this for people, because I don't want people to think I'm pressing and saying, well, you know, you can't pull this off. I just don't see how yet. How do we get a new barber to go and get this information so they can have the history?
You know, when
you gotta tap in with the newer barbers. You gotta have the younger barbers who you have to ask the younger barbers who they looking at. First of all, we gotta realize the younger barbers is in a whole different type. They're watching streamers. They're watching YouTube, right? So you have to get, let's just use Sly as an example. You have to get Sly Honcho to come out, for them to come out, and you have to get Sly to know who DL is and how important that is to the industry, and have that conversation in a platform or in a space where they like, oh, wow, okay, where they can have the connection. Back to a music thing. Most 25-year-old black boys right now have no idea who Berry Gordy is.
Yeah,
but if you make the connections to this person, that person, my dad's music, my music, this sample, that sample, then it comes together. So I think we just got to take a blueprint out of that and start where we at, talk to the youngsters. Who do you like to see? Who do you know? Talk to that person, connect them to who they need to know. I mean, like I'm having the conversation with y'all offline, bro. It's not an easy answer.
Marcus?
Yeah, I was saying that just like DL mentioned earlier about the young lady who made the ebook back in the day, and there was no technology for it. Now, a lot of times like that, I'm into the solution of problems, right? So that means that somebody's gonna have to come up with documentaries on these barbers.
There we go.
You know,
there we go.
That means that, I mean, this creates lanes for people. You understand what I'm saying? So one of the things that we do when we're faced with adversity is we create a new lane, a new stream, a new revenue, a new lane or whatever. So I believe that comes with documentaries, knowing who connects the, all these connecting factors. That's, like you said, more segments of education and knowing history at these actual events and educational seminars and these expos and different things of that nature. And then just like you said, like Brandy said, soaking it up, making sure that even when you talk to a Sly, does a Sly Honcho care who was before him, or do they look at it like I'm the one who I'm at the level of highness now, and I really don't need to look back. I'm trying to create my own legacy. You know what I'm saying? Because I've even witnessed things of that nature with a lot of the young barbers who do come up. They're like, no, I watched Jeezy 360 Jeezy years ago, and they're able to kind of learn without, because like with us, our generation we had to add value to our mentors, as DL talked about. You had to work for Curtis at Exotic so that Pacino's could know how to run his company. He was doing all that stuff with Exotics. Nowadays, it's like they'll watch a YouTube situation, and it's just like you said, it's just a different way of consuming information that's not necessarily, we haven't necessarily updated to just yet, but there are lanes and avenues in which we can kind of, expose them to some new stuff.
I appreciate that.
Right.
I'm collecting.
Real quick.
No. I want to hear you, Ivan. I'm collecting everything everybody's saying, and I want to come back to it. But go ahead, Ivan.
Yeah, respectfully, gentlemen, I do need to say thank you, and I do need to depart for the evening.
For sure.
But I'm honored to have been invited to join in on some of this conversation, some of which I obviously have good things to contribute, strong opinions, and I'm thrilled to be heard. And there's other aspects of, especially some of the racial portion of the conversation that, I can admit I don't know everything I need to know to be as best informed as I can be about some of these issues. So very much respect and appreciate being included in a group like this.
Thank
you. I look forward to both crossing paths out in the real world and continuing to participate in some of these things with all of you. So thank you.
We love you, man. Evan, you're a gem, man.
Ivan's 65% black. I'm just telling y'all that right now. He's 65% black, and we already know it.
All right, we're gonna have to think about that. All right,
Ivan, we're blessed to have you, man. Seriously.
Thank you.
All right.
What
Go ahead.
Marcus was talking about and what I've done is like using a Sly Honcho. I reach out to these young barbers. I slide when I tell you go down in the DM, it goes down in the DMs, and I slide into those popular nobodies in here. See if you can bring John on here, please. If there's any way that we can bring John Mosley on.
I sent them. Tell them to John, check your DM. I sent the link to you.
So one thing that I've done, and I've always done this, and ever since I've been back, I've been learning the new hottest, youngest barbers who's doing what they're doing out there. And I would tell you 98%, well, actually 99% of every single one of those young barbers that I slid into their DM, they hit me right back. And I told them how much I appreciate them. And whether it be Latin, whether it be black, whether it be white, it does not matter. I care about our industry so much. And I want these young barbers to know that I am supporting them. I want them young barbers to know that how important they are to this industry. I want the young barbers to know, and that even goes with Cole, because Cole, he's Cole is our Malcolm X by any means necessary. And he said straight up, he said, listen, I say what I say, but at the end of the day too, I fight too. He said, I can scrap too. So just so if you think you want to run up, know that this ain't all. I'm not just a dude punching no keyboard. Now, and this is what I'm speaking from what he said. You see what I'm saying? But the bottom line is at the end of the day, the older barbers have to reach out to the younger barbers and let them know that we are there to support and whatever I can do to help. The younger barbers have to also have enough respect and enough humility to say, hey man, maybe I'm not where you are, or maybe I'm not with this, but some of these young barbers with the attitude is like, you ain't SHIT, I don't give a damn about you, I don't care. But see, the thing is that I would love to see the barber industry grow to the point where these people are not raping them. And Tamil, I need to correct y'all on the level 3 thing. I am not, and I would never be ever an ambassador to nobody's company. I am an employee, and that's what it is, and I get paid according to that. I don't do ambassadorships because I don't believe in that, and I don't believe anybody needs to be an ambassador. That's a whole nother story. But I just wanted to correct you on that. And
I didn't even say it, DL.
I did.
One of y'all said
it. I did.
One of y'all said it, and I don't do ambassadors. I don't believe in it. And anybody that know me, I don't play that game. Because if I'm gonna add value to your company, you're gonna pay me accordingly to that.
For sure.
And then it also plays a part while we're on this is those companies. And like, for example, level 3, one of the reasons everybody said that was a power move. One of the reasons why level 3 brought me there is not only to help this company win, but level 3 brought me there is because they want to bridge that gap between the Latins and the blacks. They want to bridge that gap between the white and the black. They want to, their products are universal. And they say, listen, a lot of times African Americans ain't buying our products because of this. And I said, well, number one, you need to have some representation on that stage. Now, Bones is one representation, but we need more than that. And Jay is like saying, listen, let's do what we got to do. He is doing his part, and other companies need to step in and do the same thing. But this is a united front. This conversation can't end here tonight. It has to go on. Marcus's thing. More people need to know about it. I'm going to promote it. So give me a flyer and I'll put it on my thing. But these are conversations that need to be had. And the way we do it is we have to bridge the gap. And United Barbers, you guys are our voice. And this would have never happened without your technology. This would have never happened if Cole didn't agree to do it. This would have never happened if Cole didn't even make that point. This would have never happened if Cole wasn't standing on 10 toes down on what he said. None of these things would happen. All of this stuff happened organically. And look at the people that wanted to come. Look at the people who said, Boom called and is like, listen, man, as long as we end on a positive note, I'm down. John Mosley, listen, I'm down, whatever, because John is he like Cole. He gonna say what he say. And that's just what it is. Marcus is a fool just by himself. He's a clown. That's his heart. and he's going to make light of everything, but he's still going to get his point across.
Amen.
DJ is an up and coming motivator, inspirer, a great educator, and he has put the miles in. This man will drive instead of fly. I ain't never known nobody to do as much driving as he done. This man has drove, how far was that? 2.5, 3 hours almost to come get me.
Yeah.
And he seen that I was in Chicago. Was I in Chicago?
Nah, you was just up in the city, but it was 2 hours from where we was at.
2 hours, and said, could you come to meet my boys and come to the shop? And he drove 2 hours one way and 2 hours another way. Because I said, listen, I got a speaking engagement in the afternoon. I spoke in the morning. He came down, picked me up. We went to his place in Oklahoma, and then we drove back. So 4 hours that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about. And I will go anywhere. I would do anything for any young barber, any old barber. Just call me and ask me. But the bottom line is a lot of people don't want to have these conversations with us, is because either they're afraid to ask questions. They're afraid that we might turn them away. They're afraid. But listen, man, we got to be open books. And here's the last thing I want to leave with you guys on this. Black barbers need to be held accountable too. Because these Latin barbers ain't holding these black barbers down. These black barbers is holding black barbers down. Black barbers I honestly can tell you, there's been many times that I would go to a black barber shop and they would turn the other cheek and be like, what that dude in the suit got to say to me? He ain't got nothing to say to me. And the young barbers know who I am, but the older barbers don't care. But the funny thing is you working your ass off every single day, and you're booked and making the same amount of money that you made in 2018, but you, in your mind, you're busy. You're not busy. What you're doing is spinning your wheels. Black barbers don't go to a lot of these shows because they don't see nothing in it for them. The reason why nothing's in it for you is because you are not willing to change. Bottom line, at the end of the day. So I cannot allow anybody to try to hate on Latin barbers and say, oh, they the ones holding. No. A lot of black barbers don't want to bring their ass to the shows. Period, point blank. And whoever mentioned, well, we need to have more of our categories in there. I don't give a damn what category it is. If you're a good barber, you can do whatever you want to do. Period, point blank. They won't even come to the show. You just got to get them to come first before they can compete.
We know.
That's it right there.
So there has to be a level of accountability for black barbers and in education. And with all of this being said, how many black barbers have even called or even tried to talk to me about becoming debt free? How many black barbers ever said, hey man, you own a hotel, you building a hotel, you building villas, you doing all of this, and you financing it yourself? None of us. As long as I'm doing motivation, y'all want to be all in my DMs. Y'all want to be, man, you said that, man, you were speaking to my heart. But the minute I talk about being debt-free, the minute I'm talking about making money while you sleep, nobody wants to have that conversation. And those are the conversations we need to have. I don't give a damn about a haircut. Period, point blank. Is the haircut, some of the worst barbers that can't cut no hair make the most money.
That's true.
And the ones who can cut hair, they cut their ass off, are the ones who don't make hardly no money. Because their ass ain't in that barbershop. And John Mosley is here. God dang it.
Yeah.
What's up, John? Welcome to the platform.
Let's go, man.
Good to meet you online, man. I'm Lonnie. This is my partner, Tamel, man.
We had John at one of our first shows at Federico's. He was working with Hanzo. He came out and did an education class.
And I didn't get to really tie in. So this is official, and it's good seeing you get acknowledged at CT, man. That was a dope thing.
That was big.
Love the way you carried yourself with it, man. So we'll just love to tie you into this, man. We talked about a lot for a while. And maybe we could take him back real quick to get his response too on your first reaction when you saw Cole's post about the fade being black culture,
and maybe even some of the backlash you read.
I just laughed. Honestly, a lot of people don't know my family history in this industry. My mother picked cotton, and my mother is one of the most brilliant hairstylists in this industry. So the stuff that Cole posted, it didn't move me no type of way, because this is information that I was already privy to. You know what I mean? And the backlash of it, to be honest, I don't even read people's comments, bro. Like that's messy business down there. You know what I mean? And so, but the mess was in Cole's message, and that's what you see in the comments. And so I work as an executive director of a school. So I got to manage staff. I got to manage students' expectations and hear the conversations that happen through the internet and stuff like that. So it's always, for me, how do we move forward? If you know, I've been in rooms with Cole. We ain't really had a chance to actually get down and speak, but he'll tell you, I shot him a DM and was like, bro, you know what I mean? Like, let's rap, because it's like, okay, so now what? What we do to move forward? How do we move forward? How do we keep pushing this? Me and DL have spent time on the phone. DJ mentioned my name in the post. I called him that morning. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm very in tune. But I just mind my business, because that's my business to mind. You know what I mean? And so, but when I feel something, I'm going to reach out and talk directly to the person I feel that got to have a conversation, good or bad. And that's all it was. And so, I deal with one of the messiest people on the internet, Charleston White. And people always ask me, like, how you cut his hair? Man, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That's him. You know what I mean? And so that's how I look at it. And if anybody know me, been close to me, I stand up for everything African-American. Definitely stand up for it. I don't have to be the boisterous person to do it. But when it all said and done, and I've been able to listen with my wife and sit back and hear what everybody's saying. At the end of the day, when you talk about Black history in this barbering, I will go down as Black history in this barbering from what I've been able to do in this industry. So one day, hopefully, Cole have a son and he follow his dad's footsteps and he make a post about me, because it's just what it is. Everybody on this call right now, everybody watching, everybody chiming in, we all got history to make, because history is nothing but his story. So the post that Cole made was a feeling of his story. And so that's how I took it.
Beautiful, man. So the moving forward part, especially with the Black community in the barber industry, what is your take on how do we move forward and get more Blacks involved in maybe these events? Because I posed this question to Jay Majors as well as Lee for our podcast we done in Vegas. I wanted to know, because I'm like, I see a lot of Latinos here. How do we get the Black participation into these events? And Lon, I think you remember very well what both of them said. I can't remember. I was drinking.
They actually both, Lee and Jay, they both said, honestly, man, we go around to Black barbershops to try to motivate them to come, and we really don't know. We really don't know. We try to go around and entice them, and we have not figured that part out. He just said we would love to see more diversity in the show, but that was both of their responses. And these are two separate times he asked them both individually. So, John, you look like you had a response to that.
Yeah. Like DL said, I'm a 4-time educator of the year. My face ain't on no flyers. So let's really talk about it. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna be honest, when people call me to come to their show, it's always, hey, can this company that you work with sponsor, can you sponsor our show to get you there? No, my wife and I, we own our own company. So why do I gotta go to a company to get a money? And the ROI is not, the show is not based from the company corporate level standpoint, because a lot of these barbers don't move corporately. They don't know how to move corporately, because once again, Cole talk business, DL talk business, Ivan talk business, I talk business, DJ tell you that it's medicine if you take it. You know what I mean? If we go put our name on a show and the company doesn't feel like that ROI came back to that company, who does that fall on? Does it fall on the show, or does it fall on the middleman? It falls on the plug. But you can't expect somebody like me, who's saying, I want my goddamn respect for what I've been able to do in this industry, to look at a flyer and not see a Brandy, not see a DL, not see a Cole, not see a Marcus, not see a DJ teaching a content creator class, not seeing all of this and say, why should I be there? What about my brother, Roderick Samuels? He's also a NAHA Educator of the Year. But everybody else win these awards and they get uplifted. How many African-American barbers is in American Salon magazine? Not too many. But why? Like I said in that comment, if we speak highly of each other and put air under each other's wings. We have no choice but to take off. But the problem is, everybody, I've seen it on the internet, everybody want to compete. The biggest things in our community, we trying to compete with each other instead of actually glorifying. Me and my wife started our Popular Nobody brand and brought a bunch of different races together. DL seen it, DJ seen it. It's not just black, man, it's all of us. I celebrate everybody. But at the end of the day, the problem is when we look at these flyers, what is making an African-American barber look at that flyer and say, I want to come learn from them when we're doing the same thing? It doesn't add up. And I sit in a lot of education and I watch the value that people are placing on education right now. When you go watch these VIP educations, I'm going to just tell you straight out, a lot of it is trash. A lot of it is trash. There's no actual medicine inside of them classrooms. It's all about the look at me, look at me, look at me. Look what I could do. Look what I could do. So what are you teaching us? What are you teaching anybody that's sitting in that room? Black, white, Latino, Asian, whatever. What are you teaching us? And so when you see that, the companies are now being pushed into a position to where they are being asked to sponsor these events. If you take the company sponsorships away, corporately, take them away, what do you have? And let's really ask that question. Because now the narrative is you're getting the educator the company want. You're not getting the educator the people want. See how that works? So when you want people to come to your event, sometimes the host of the event, stop telling lies, bro. Stop saying, oh, well, I ain't got no money to budget. Fuck that budget, bro. Let's be real. Let's be real. If you respect the artist, you pay the artist no matter what. And I say that with my heart, and I stand 10 toes on that because that's what I do. That's what me and my wife do as a company. We pay the artists that we want to pay because at the end of the day, everybody got to get their bag. Yeah. We're building a platform right now for these type of conversations to happen. We got hustle economics coming. Hustle economics, and hustle not meaning how to get over, but hustle meaning put a little umph in your pace. Economics mean how to be smarter with everything we do. So it's not about cutting hair. It's about the mindset change, like Cole say, that it takes to elevate where we're going. And if more of us stood up, and not just us as a community of barbers, if more of us stood up and actually really looked at what's being taking place and what's happening, we will understand. In order for you to survive right now, you're either an influencer or you're an educator. The problem is the educators are not getting paid like the influencers are, but you're still asking, companies are still asking educators to do influencers' job. Those are two different paychecks. And if you know, you know. An educator does one thing. The educator teaches you about the value of the product and what they do with the product. And influencers tell you to go buy the product because look, I like it. It's a difference. It's a difference. And so I challenge, change some of the faces on them cards and you'll see the difference.
Wow. Love that perspective.
Man, well said, man. What's y'all thoughts about we were on barber history earlier and I was curious of, how can these new barbers get this? First of all, John, everything you just said, man, just super impactful, man. What's your thoughts of like at the education level, barber history classes?
Nobody cares.
So I'm glad you said that because this is right before you came in. This is what I was trying to figure out, and I wanted to make sure everybody didn't think this was me personally saying nobody cares. I was trying to figure out where the disconnect is and how can we bring that. So like a DL, legend to all of us. But then DJ brought up the newer generation may not know who he is. And I'm like, well, how do we do that? Brandy says, hey, we have to speak. We have to, and some of them said we got to give game. I'm like, but it sounds good, but where and how physically do we make that connection? Like, where does that happen?
I told John and I told DL Aston, y'all got to come outside, man.
So you saying it goes back to what DL was saying, which is accountability. Like so right now we're talking about a us thing right now.
Yeah, I'm talking about us. I'm talking about specifically.
This is big. This is big.
Hey, come outside, and while we in those rooms, and DL's on that level 3 stage, and John's on that Andy stage, or whatever stages they own, and them young barbers is coming up to you or walking around, say, "Hey, you know this guy? Hey, you don't know who this is? Hey, you don't know who that is?" That's the only way I can see it happening. Ground level, grabbing somebody, being like, "Hey, man, you don't know this guy." Other than that, man, I don't know how to reach them on the internet. Go ahead,
if we talking about reaching the younger barbers,
right?
We listen. They only respect one thing: viral and followers. I'm gonna just be real. It's ugly. I don't like it. I can't stand it with every breath in me. Even though I got them, I don't. That ain't how I built it and what I built this for, right? But that's all they care about. They care about you seeing you online, you going viral, you getting followers or whatnot. That's like that influencer thing. That's where they come from. They'll worship and influencer, and everything this influencer say will be like the word of God to them, just because they got a K on a follower account or M on a follower account, and they doing numbers online. And it's sad, but that's the environment we in. We can't come in here in an old school way, trying to do some new school stuff and reach the new school, to be honest. And all of us in this room now got followers, right? We have to work in the ecosystem with each other and make a lot of viral. And I ain't talking about none of this skits, none of that corny. We don't do none of that. I just mean all of us got powerful words, powerful statements to say, powerful messages to give. And we got creatives. All of us got different skills to put on it, bring to the table. We need to get people's face out there so they can see them, right? And it just is what it is. That's what they respect. We may not like it, but we got to change with the game. And
there you go.
We got to put DL back in their face, because when I started on Instagram, DL was everything, right? You better be following DL if you're a barber. And how dare some of these new barbers say you don't know who they is? You better be following Al's Millions. It's one of the first barbers jump on YouTube and get down like that, right?
Right.
You better, and it's like you gotta put it in their face. And they respect it. It's sad, but that's what they respect. And
that was specific though, Cole, and that's what I've been pushing and poking to get, because there's a lot of a lost history and jewels that I'm hearing coming out of everybody's mouth that's missing. And I'm like, okay, it sounds good, but how do we physically connect it? And that's it right there. So that means we're gonna have to educate the legends on how to convey that message the modern way.
Let's go, JM.
Yeah.
So DJ, you my brother, dog. You know, and challenge accepted. You know, challenge accepted. You know what I mean? That's just how I feel. And I also want to give praises to Marcus. A lot of people don't know me and Marcus got a long history. And Marcus called me one day about some goofy in LA. We don't have to say no names. And was like, bro, I gave this person an opportunity to cut this person hair. They fumbled, didn't follow instructions. DL can contest to this. Rule number 1 in Hollywood: whoever give you a job, when you get an opportunity to give them another job, you give that job back. Right? When a celebrity call you or a barber call you to cut their client hair, you never exchange numbers with that barber client. You always tell the client to bounce back to the barber. And if he want me again, you got to go through him. The respect on how business is handled is at an all-time low, because everybody want a viral moment, a viral clip, and this and that. So that's rule number 1. The respect level got to get risen back to the standard of what it needs to be, especially when we're dealing with things like that. DL spent a little time earlier talking about Curtis Smith. When I wrote Paul Mitchell's barbering curriculum, I called Curtis and said, Curtis, I need to pay homage to you. So I'm putting your burst fade inside the Paul Mitchell curriculum. Go look, it's still there. You know what I mean? So the history it's already there. You know, I always make this statement and people ridicule me for it, because I say, man, I do not like Black History Month. And they're like, what? How can you be Black and how can you say you don't like it? Because we talking about the same people.
Yeah.
We talk about Rosa Parks. We talk about Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King.
He had a dream and still got killed, and he still can't see his dream. So at the end of the day, what are we talking about? When you're talking about Black history, American history, nobody's talking about Arthur Ashe. They try to erase Venus and Serena. Yeah. So it's like, what about these people that our kids are growing up and watching? Right? What about those people right now in the moment?
Man.
That why do we still got to learn about us sitting at the back of the bus when we've been bus drivers? Man. Nobody celebrate the bus driver. Nobody celebrate the guy that just picked up the trash in our neighborhood our whole life. Nobody celebrate the mechanic that was down there taking care of these kids' mamas. So Black history is bigger than Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King.
Yeah,
it's every aspect of our history has to be celebrated. So when you're looking at it, that's part of the problem again. It's not being celebrated across the board, not by any other race. It starts within. It starts with us. And I'm going to question y'all real quick, because this is a history question for barbering. Do y'all know, everybody's seen me get this Andis Clipper deal, right? But nobody paid attention to what really happened. I put my own $30,000 up to get this deal done. So I paid to the brand to get this deal done. How many of us are willing to take the risk? Shout out to Kenny Duncan, right? Because now Kenny got his Clipper deal. But how many of us are really to look at the table and say, how do we take corporate and turn the table in our favor just enough? If you go to Andis website, my Clipper is not sold on Andis website. You can only get that Clipper at popularnobody.com. So when you really think about it, that's history right there. Not only did I break the mold, but I did something. I just watched the Cowboys series on Netflix. When the NFL was sponsored by Reebok, Jerry Jones said, "Now we bringing Nike and Pepsi into this building." Those are the things that has to happen. The Curtis Smiths already did it. The DJ is doing it with content, but nobody is celebrating the things. DL, Costa Rica, building what he building. The Marcus Harvey, the haircut. All of these things are happening. The curriculum, right? All of this stuff is happening. But because we too busy trying to fight and compete for the spot, man, listen, I sat in church a couple of weeks ago, and the pastor talked about the Avengers. When the DC Marvel Comics and the Avengers came together, they all were leaders. But the difference was they all put their differences aside to become one mega team to defend the problem. I learned that in church. I ain't never watched that movie before, but damn it, I went back and I was like, I gotta watch this.
I like that analogy too.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, we're all alphas, we're all leaders. But how do we become one? So when people, going back to the top of the conversation, the reason why we all on here, when people look at Cole posts and only poke at racism, that's not the challenge. The challenge is, what do we do as a community? What do we do as a people? Because we, like DJ said, we already celebrate everybody else, but we don't even celebrate our own. That's the problem. So if anything, the racism happens within us. Instead of us hating on anybody else.
To Dio's point.
You know, and it's funny that when you talk about that, like Marcus has said something, John, before you got on. And he said it's funny how he'll turn somebody on to a cut to do like Nas, and then they'll have more comments and likes than he does, and he's the one who's doing him on a regular basis. And Marcus has called me to ask me to do Nas before. But when I do other people's clients, there's no posting. There's no posting. I've done so many celebrities that you guys have not, and you be like, you did that, and you did this, and you did that. Listen, it's not about that. And Marcus and I even called Marcus and asked him, I said, man, he paid me this amount of money. Do you want it? And Marcus said, no, that's all you. And I said, well, usually when I cut, because I'm just this way. And I'm not telling anybody to do it this way, but if you turn me on to them, I'll cut them for you because you out of town. But I'm not looking for the money. So you could take the money because I'm helping you out. But they always tell me you can keep the money. There's a level of integrity that we have to possess in this business. And I know you guys have to make money. So I'm not telling you to do what I do. But when Marcus, I also called Marcus one day and I told him, I say, listen, who you just turned on to do Chris Webber, this dude is posting the conversation and the address online right now. And Marcus is like, what? I said, man, listen, man, you got to be careful on who you hire to cover for you when you're dealing with these celebrities. Now, what happened if Chris Webber said that he was in New York and told his wife that he was in New York and he happened to be in LA and this man done posted? What about these stick-up kids? And now this man done posted this man's address and all he got to do is wait outside the gate until the barber pull up. He jacked the barber and then pull into the house and then jack Chris. These are things, are integrity issues. And Marcus got on him right away and he took it down. But if I was to screenshot it like I did to get it to Marcus, what difference does it make if he took it down?
Right.
You understand? And so we have to have a level of integrity. John also mentioned about putting up your own bread. How many people are willing to put up 30,000? How many people are willing enough to put up 2.1 million like I put up to do the stuff that I done? My
How
own
many
money,
black
no
barbers
banks.
got $10,000 to put up? Let's talk about pocket
No. But John, the point is that when it comes to Marcus has to put up, Chico Boom was telling me how much it costs, and we talking about in a large number just to put this show together. We're talking about a very big number. And most people are not willing to bet on themselves. John is saying, listen, yeah, all that stuff sound good, but are you willing to put up the bread to bet on yourself?
Bet on yourself.
That's what I heard John say. When Marcus puts his show together, he's putting up that bread. I know this. He's putting up that money. We have to be willing to put up that money to show. When I created Pocket Game, was one of the number one selling books. It was on the bestsellers list, the whole 9 yards. I made a lot of money, but I put up my own bread to make that book. And it wasn't a very pricey book, but I bet on me that knew that I could sell it. Yep. Period, point blank. And now today, barbers, no matter what the race is, and especially for us, since we are on this live together, we have to be willing to put up or shut up. We have to be willing to actually be more of lead by example. Y'all know me. I don't talk. I do. And anybody who know and been around me, they know that, oh yeah, that's his stuff. That is exactly what it is because I'm not going to be the one to be leaning on somebody's Ferrari or Lamborghini. And it, to be honest with you, it ain't mine, but you posting it like it's yours. That flossing don't mean nothing. John ain't flossing. John is living.
Amen.
DJ is driving. Marcus is showing. So at the end of the day, the bottom line, I really hope from this conversation that we as barbers start to get more together, have conversations. And Brandy said it best. She said, listen, it's time to have that round table. It's time to have that round table with the leaders only. Nobody else. The leaders of this industry all come together. All races, the leaders come and say, listen, what are we doing? And meet at a neutral space. Somewhere that none of y'all live at. But it's a neutral space, whether it be North Carolina, with somewhere not Atlanta, because there's a lot of them live out. Bring it to where we all got to get.
Don't be hating on Atlanta. Don't be hating on Atlanta.
This is what I'm saying. Bring it to somewhere that we
all
that
have fresh though, Marcus.
Have to go somewhere, right? And at the end of the day, and literally start to, and we should maybe even make a book out of this on rules and of engagement for what a barber really should be. Because we are having a big problem with this. And this racism is a problem that we need to attack, we need to address, and we need to come together. Our finances, our barbers are losing money rapidly is because they're not even keeping up with inflation. Right. And when these tariffs hit, these barbers, they didn't learn. Most barbers did not learn from the pandemic. They did not learn from they was hollering and screaming and crying. And it was so sad to see barbers losing their things. But at the end of the day, now that you came back, and I said this, and I don't have a problem saying it again, I called barbers cowards when they raised their prices in the pandemic. You are a coward. And any one of y'all online, I'm going to say it again. If you didn't hear me say it back then, I'm going to say it now. You were a coward to raise your prices talking about, oh, I had to pay for the COVID stuff. You are a liar. You did that because you were too afraid to raise your prices when people had money. You did it when people were down. So the bottom line is at this particular point, We don't need to talk about that no more. What we need to talk about is how we are going to forget about, I'm going to raise my price. This ain't about raising prices. This is about staying on task and on level. Yeah. The tariffs have not even hit yet, Barbers. It hasn't hit yet. We are still from the surplus of the steel and everything we have in these warehouses. In a minute, them tariffs is going to hit and people are not going to have the same money that they had before. And it's going to affect these barbers, truly. And it ain't going to be about your popularity. It's going to be about, are you going to be able to live in your house anymore? Are you going to be able to stay in an apartment anymore? Are you? So now is the time that you need to really start ramping up your business. John is ramping up his business. Marcus is ramping up his business. DJ is ramping up his business. DL is listen. Y'all already know.
Yeah, we already say, and that's what you said. And I would even say something too, man. Like, definitely, I agree with you, man. As far as the round table, the good thing about that is the summit is not in Atlanta; it's actually in Tennessee. So that's a bit, Tennessee. So that's a very neutral spot. So it's a round table, and it's set up for this specific opportunity for us to start talking about where we want to go, how we want to go. As John knows too, what you guys know is like, I am not greedy in my clients. I'm not. One of the things that everybody knows is when it comes to like throwing oops, I'm one of the most. I'm leading. I like leading the league in assists. You know what I'm saying? I.e. why we started the company Suprema too. It's an online, elite barber and networking spot for high-end clients as well as high-end barbers. So I've already seen how this has worked. Where things like DL said, where a guy posts a picture of where our people are. We eliminating all that with the technology that we're doing with Suprema, man. So what I would suggest, man, is just like we just continue to, like you said, celebrate each other. Celebrate each other, let people know about each other, and just continue to grow, man. But yeah, man, I think that's where we're going to right now. As far
as decide. This is what I want to say before we get off, because y'all know I'm dragging right now. I get up.
Yeah, you drag.
Come on, DJ, don't act like that.
I'm here.
He been gassed up all day though. He been waiting on this.
Yeah.
I'll say this, man. Everybody, I have everybody's number on this live. I want to decide on. I don't know if we're gonna have a leader, what leadership looks like, but I definitely want to decide on the action step as a group and what are we doing. Let's execute something. Like everybody's saying, we don't want it to die. I don't want this to become some abstract idea. I want it to become a point of execution. I'm not trying to appoint myself the leader. I'm willing to default to whoever is going to be the organizer, but I definitely want us to make sure we take a step forward. I'm going to be seeing all of y'all in person, with the exception of Cole, over like the next couple of weeks anyway. So,
right.
If there's some conversations, I know that not if the conversations that we need to have offline, let's have them. The conversations that need to be in person, let's have them. But
I'm with it. I want to say I'm proud of everybody, man. I'm proud of everybody on this for taking the chance, talking, and I really think this is going to impact a lot more people than we could even see on this live tonight. I think this is going to be evergreen content. I've been saying it for the last couple of days, and it's needed. And a whole lot of other things that weren't even an initial part of this agenda came out that opened our minds up. So I just want to thank everybody. We want to thank all y'all. It's so much more we could go into, but I feel like this was healthy. You know what I mean? I feel like it was healthy. And the reason I say I'm proud is because we had disappointment, anger, frustration, a whole lot of emotions moving around with this topic. And we were able to show that we could address this and in a civil manner, man. And I'm just hella proud of that. So I would like to, we would like to close out with everybody's just giving 1 minute of their final word. I think DJ and Marcus kind of just did it best, to be honest, and DL. But would love to hear final words from the rest of you guys that that people can leave with.
With me, man, I just want to say this, man. Yes, the fade is black culture.
What do you say? Houston Red? Houston Red?
The answer that question, man. But we just gotta understand that celebrating others in this industry is not a bad thing. Celebrating another ethnicity or whatnot in this industry is not a bad thing. And you know, if barbers and me learning history, the history of barbering started off, barbers was used to move like a fraternity, right? You cannot be in a fraternity if you do not know the history. That's just what it is. Barbering is a fraternity. I don't care what race you are. You just joined the fraternity when you became a barber. So know your history and don't be offended by it. Embrace it, and then know your people as well. Know the people who are staples in this industry and what they contributed, man.
Amen.
Well said.
Mostly.
Damn, well said.
Man.
Mr. Moses,
Cole,
the perfect person to wrap it.
Before John, because I know John gonna kill it. Cole, I just want to say, man, congratulations to you, man, and all your success, man. Thank you for also being a lighthouse to so many young and old barbers. Thank you for also being a pillar of leading by example with your fitness. You also not only talk about working hard, but you know you're a barber of my own heart about playing even harder. You know, you show people that you go on trips, you take time and you spend with your girl, and you take time you spend with your family. And these are all prime examples of showing, a man of valor, what a man of valor looks like. And so I just want to say, man, thank you so much. I do want to come down and visit you, when time permits after I finish shooting this show. I would love to come down, and then I would also love to invite you and all of the brothers on the panel to come down to stay with me in Costa Rica on me. You won't have to pay for nothing. But I would just love for you guys to come and just enjoy yourselves and just relax. But I really want to say, man, you have really hit the ground running. I've watched you from the beginning, and I watched where you come from, where you came from, and where you're going, and you have become a very astute of a man, an astute barber, a great barber who is becoming one of the strong master barbers of our time. And I just want to say, continue to do the things that you do, and don't hold your tongue, man, because we are here to support you.
Amen.
And I just want to thank John and Marcus for coming out, because this is a very sensitive subject, and both of you guys have very unique and interesting businesses that could possibly hinder the way you do things. But when you stand on your 10 toes down like you two do, it was not going to be hard for you to do it. It's because you guys are very well spoken. You know how to get your point across without having to show any kind of bias. And I just want to say thank you so much, John, for everything that you have done in this industry, and all of the things that you have not been celebrated for all of the things that you have grown to be. You are a great father as well. And I just thank you for the things that you've done for Paul Mitchell, and even putting me on. You guys might not know, but almost 10 years now I've been with Paul Mitchell, but it's all because of John Mosley. And so, and when it comes to those type of situations, John might can recommend you, but you got to stay. You got to be the one to be able to stay. And Marcus, man, thank you so much, man, for just being a pivotal master barber of our industry, and showing your growth, and showing your, how you love your wife and how much you love the Lord, and how many people that you help. See, it's one thing about being a barber. It's another thing is when you say how many people have you helped. And it's been shown, it's been proven on how many people you have helped, not only through your ministry, not only through your comedy, not only through your barbering, but just the person that you are. And it's Hawk is one of them. You shine that boy up to make him a diamond. You know what I mean? And I've seen it. And a lot of people have not seen all of the people that you've helped, but you have done a great service, even in the movie Barbershop, even though you might not have had your hand on it. But the people that worked on that show is the reason why that movie has done so well, is because of the people that you helped. So I just want to say thank you. And as far as United Barbers, man, you guys, man, you're doing something that's great. You guys have turned on a light that is going to be able to help change this industry, help influence this industry. And John uses a very important word. He said, I don't want to inspire, I want to impact. and you guys are being impactful into this industry. And so continue to do the things that you do. And thank you for not being afraid to bring Cole on. The minute that Brandy said what she said, you guys immediately reached out and did what you said that you were going to do. I literally cried on that interview because I thought that it needed to be said. And Brandy has and she is just one of those ones that people just don't get, and they need to get. And she is a pivotal point of this industry, and she's not a female barber, she's a barber, like I said before. And we need to honor her. And I think as men, we need to protect her, we need to cover her,
Yes.
we need to watch over her, and we need to also check the temperature of all of us on our personal. And I'm asking you guys for this right now as a homework assignment. Check on Brandy, check on DL Master Barber, because you guys didn't know that I was falling into a level of depression,
Pressure.
that I was having a hard time, right? And because of the fires, because of losing my best friend, because of losing my dad, because of losing some of my properties. And I was having a hard time, but everybody thinks that DL is good all the time. And I'm not good all the time. And so it helps if somebody just calls, John calls, right? But just to call and say, hey man, how you doing? I was thinking about you, right? Um, it's tough. And Brandy experiences the same thing. And so when you have opportunities, man, please by any means, just if you're thinking about somebody, no matter if it's me or your friends or your mother, just pick up the phone and say,
Just
hey, I
call.
just called
Yes.
to
Amen.
say I was thinking about you, because we have a hard time too.
We love you, DL.
Love
Hey
you.
man,
Seriously,
I
man.
want to tell everybody that, man, I love you, black men. I love all you
Man.
black men. You
Love you,
black
man.
men
This is beautiful.
have been such an amazing part to all of our lives, man. All of y'all, man. Y'all have impacted so many lives. Everybody on this joint, man. I'm proud of us as men. I'm proud of us as black men. I'm proud of us as human beings. And I'm proud to see what chain reaction this causes, man. Because this is a domino effect, chain reaction, whatever butterfly effect, whatever kind of effect that you want to say that impacts the world. This is what's happening on this call, man.
Amen.
I'm just honored and love y'all. Robo Shata. Glory be to God. And I thank you
Man.
for
Hey,
all
let's
this.
Love
go,
it,
Because y'all
man.
man.
started shouting. Don't make me start shouting. I'll throw
Hey,
boy.
let's go.
Boy, let me press mute. Let me press mute.
Mr. Mosley, last words.
Uh, DL said it all for, I think, the emotions and the thought process to pretty much all of us on this call about how we feel about each other. You know, Marcus reached out to me about doing a podcast. I did not hesitate. I shot him back, yep, let's do it. You know, like
Wait,
I said, I'll reach out to DJ and we'll talk. And it's always love when I see him. DL, like I said, you know, a lot of people don't even understand the history of me and DL, but my mother was one of DL mentors. And I've been around DL when he had the Rottweiler that nobody know
Mm.
about. You know what I mean? That's how long I go back remembering DL getting all the black ladies scared of this big old Rottweiler walking through the hallway of the show with no leash. So you know, people like that's part of history, though. You know what I mean? So it's like all of that. So United Barbers Club, I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me, Cole. You down in the H.
Mhm.
I'm in Dallas. So
Yeah,
that's what that text was about. You know what I mean?
yeah. I
And I'm
sent you
right
my
up
So
there with
number.
Oklahoma City.
I
Go see
sent you
me
my
high.
number back. So let's
yeah, yeah,
let's
Real
yeah.
yank
connections.
out.
The
I
And I
like
be in
that.
the
Real
D. I'm in
connections.
the D often. I'm in the D
yeah.
often.
We
Man,
gonna
let
make
me
that.
know.
Oh yeah,
Let me
DJ
know
right here
when you
too.
there, because I'm
You
right
know.
up the road. I'm 3 hours from Dallas. I can meet y'all
Bet.
down there anytime.
Yeah, so
Hey,
I always do my business privately. That's why I sent you that message the way I did, because I feel like sometimes people can't understand the minds of men when we get together in the
Mm-hmm.
public. So we gotta handle it like we do on the back end. That's why it was called the Underground Railroad for so long, because it had to be
Mm.
underground before we brought it out to the public eye. And that's
Mm,
what's wrong with America today. CNN telling everybody what the president's doing. You know what
mm,
I mean? And that's how we getting caught off guard. So for us, we got to make sure that we handle it the way we got to handle it and conduct ourselves as such, you know. But one thing I want to say, for me being in the schools, right, and me teaching a lot of classes in the schools and writing those curriculums, It's important that for us as leaders, all the leaders, us on this call, and the leaders that's not even on this call that are worthy of being leaders and put the work in to be leaders and do the actions of being a leader. To know your history, it has to be taught in the schools. The art of shaving has been lost because it's not really taught in the schools anymore. The history of barbering is not really taught in schools anymore. So it starts there. But ground level, there's a book on Amazon called The Fashion in Hair, the First 5,000 Years of Hair. It's on Amazon. I own this book and I recommend everybody get it. This is the stuff that's not taught. These are called period pieces and time pieces. This is not taught in the schools. So make sure, and I'll show you right here. But look at the price of it. Once again, invest, right? And so at the end of the day, in order for us to really understand growth and elevation, sometimes the flex is not what we do with our hands, but what we do in our household. Nobody's ever perfect. But when people ask me what's my biggest accomplishment and what's my biggest flex or my biggest thing, it's my kids. I got a daughter that just graduated with her master's degree, no college debt, paid for it by herself. I have another daughter, 22, that's a licensed esthetician. I got a son that's 18, got a full scholarship to play college football. I got a wife that runs 6 Paul Mitchell schools, HR department. So those are the flexes that we have to honor as well, not just what we do with our tools and not just what we do when it comes to having the best fade. The best fade means nothing. If your whole career is fading away because of your malpractices and the things that you're not doing correctly. So when we talk about it, I appreciate everybody and I appreciate all the opportunities that I get. I appreciate being able to sit in the seats that I have, but more importantly, I appreciate being a voice for us in those meetings that people don't even know happens. I appreciate being the light to stand up for somebody that don't even know I'm standing up for them. But it takes all of us to be that light for all of us and the people that don't even know. It might be somebody we don't like, somebody that disrespected us. But at the end of the day, that's their opportunity that they're missing to find out what this good human got for them. And so I tell somebody fast, harboring is for boats. So let that ship sail. You know what I mean? Harboring is for boats, so let that ship sail. It's time for us to stand up, protect not only ourselves, but to protect our industry as a whole. And the only way we could protect our industry as a whole, we got to come together first to then bring everybody and come together and be one unification. The barbershop was the community. Yes. That's what the barbershop was. We have lost the aspect of communal property in the barbershop because we're so worried about what looks good on Instagram. Instagram should be looked at as church. Deliver the message and let it spread to the rest of the world. So protect what you put out there on social media, but also understand we got a job to do and we got to be standing up and pushing what we need to push. So like I said, man, much respect, much to all y'all. Like I said, DJ challenge accepted. I text Marcus and say, yo, I'm at the summit. Quick, so challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. That's all.
Well said, man.
I see all of y'all in Dallas, man, at BarberCon. I'm about to crash out, man.
Looking forward to it, y'all. Everybody, thank y'all for y'all time, man. Anytime y'all need us for anything that you got to do, please reach out. We are here. With everything that you're saying, man. And you didn't change my whole look on the Avengers, John. I feel you, man. We gotta be that. Much love to y'all, and we'll be in touch. All right.
All right. Y'all have a good night.
All right, everyone.